Douluo, destroying Yu Xiaogang, I'm invincible. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51 CPU Master Zhang Tianyu. Chapter 51 CPU Master, Zhang Tianyu. Zhu Xiaogang walked in the front. Daimyo Bei followed her gloomily, but he was not the most depressed. The most depressed was Tang San. Although Daimyo Bei was defeated by Zhu Xiaogang, he was still a playboy who was proficient in women. Zhang Tianyu and Xiao Wu were a couple. Although Oscar became bald, he had many girlfriends. Although Fatty was ugly, he also had many girlfriends. Only him, Tang San. He has lived 2 lives and is still single. Not to mention doing what he loves with girls. He has never even touched a girl's hand. However, if he really wanted to go to brothels like Mahangjin, he couldn't do it. After all, he was a gentleman. So, at this moment, facing Mingyu, he became the most depressed one among all people. After returning to the entrance of the academy in a dull manner, they saw Ning Rangrang sitting on the big blue stone at the entrance waiting for them, and Oscar with a big bald head was next to her. It seemed that, although Flanders did not ask Oscar to comfort Ning Rangrang when he left this time, Oscar still chose to comfort her automatically. So Oscar was really smart, and he really used his brain to pick up girls. He knew very well that this time was the best time to win Ning Rangrang's favor. So even if he became bald, even if Flanders did not ask him, he took the initiative to win Ning Rangrang's favor. However, this time with Zhang Tianyu there, he was destined to fail to win her favor. Zhu Xiaogang did not look at the 2 people, but walked past them with his head down and went straight back to the dormitory. Daimyo Bei glanced at them and ignored them. Zhang Tianyu was a little confused. Hey, shouldn't you ask a question at this time? Why don't you ask? Was he hit by Zhu Xiaogang, so he had no desire to live and didn't even want to ask? But Daimyo Bei did not ask, but Xiao Wu, Ning Rangrang's roommate, asked, "Huh? What are you doing here?" Zhang Tianyu glanced at her. Well, Xiao Wu's nosy nature is sometimes a good thing, as it can trigger the plot. Otherwise, he would have to trigger it. Ning Rangrang replied, "I'm waiting for you here. Why did you come back so late? Where are the dean and the fat man?" When the word fatty was mentioned, Daimyo Bei got angry instantly. They are in trouble. Then he asked Ning Rangrang in a bad mood, "Have you thought it through? Are you leaving or staying?" Ning Rangrang frowned. "What are you doing? Did you take the wrong medicine? Why are you so fierce?" Daimyo Bei became more and more angry. "It's none of your business why I'm fierce. I'm asking you, are you leaving or not? If you want to leave, do it quickly. You." Ning Rangrang's face suddenly turned cold. She was about to retort, but suddenly she thought of something. Her eyes turned and she smiled. "Oh, I see. You must have been defeated by Zhu Xiaogang, right? No wonder you are so angry. Oscar said you are a love saint, but you can't even handle a little girl. TSK TSK TSK. Daimyo Bei's evil eyes were filled with cold light. "Ning Rangrang, don't challenge my patience. This is Shrek Academy, not your home. Others are afraid of your 7 treasures glazed tile sect, but I'm not afraid. If you anger me, be careful that I will kill you first, then kill you, and then kill you again." Ning Rangrang laughed and said, "I'm so scared." As she said that, she deliberately straightened her chest. "Come on, let me see how you kill me." Daimyo Bei's temper finally found an outlet, and the strong momentum suddenly surged, and the soul power burst out instantly, rushing straight towards Ning Rangrang. If this impact hit, then Ning Rangrang would definitely be blown away. But everyone only felt a flash in front of their eyes, and Zhang Tianyu had already blocked in front of Ning Rangrang, and this powerful momentum impact was instantly resolved. Not only resolved, as the initiator of the momentum impact, Daimyo Bei even felt a sharp momentum counterattack. At this moment, his face had a pain of being cut by a sharp blade. Ning Rangrang was startled, and she didn't react until everything calmed down. Then she glared at Daimyo Bei. She didn't expect this guy to be so manic and start fighting as soon as he said he would. That's a bit too much. Old day. Zhang Tianyu stared into Daimyo Bei's eyes. Dame Yubei was stunned. Zhang Tianyu continued. Don't say Ning Rangrang was against you. You were the first to be mean to her. She didn't provoke you, so why were you mean to her? You started fighting when you couldn't argue? This is not in line with your manly style. Dame Yubei has a famous saying called men can't say no. In Zhang Tianyu's opinion, this kind of words are just to deceive people. Just say it to provoke others, and don't believe it yourself. If you really believe it, and regard it as a man's code, then you are finished. At that time, no matter whether you can do it or not, it will be pushed to you, and you will become a stupid tool who doesn't care about your life in the eyes of others. Zhang Tianyu's words "it doesn't fit your manly style" were meant for CPU Dame Yubei. As expected, as soon as Zhang Tianyu said this, Dame Yubei was speechless. All his words were completely blocked by this sentence. He didn't dare to refute. Once he refuted, he would not be a man. Only those people who have never been pooed on Douluo Road would be at a loss when facing such a CPU. If it was Zhang Tianyu, he would directly retort with CNMD. Whether I'm a man or not, you have the final say. Then why don't you say that the world should be at peace forever? Go home and play P. Seeing that Dame Yubei had nothing to say, Zhang Tianyu walked up to Dame Yubei and continued to CPU him. Old day, you are the boss of the academy, and you are the oldest. Logically, you should be the big brother. That's right, as the big brother, how can you be so impatient? Why do you have to argue with such a spoiled little girl? Dame Yubei sighed. Alas, Tianyu, alas. If you are unhappy, you can come to me. Our strengths are similar. If you come to me, others will not say that you are bullying the weak, right? Zhang Tianyu continued to CPU. Why did you go after Ning Rangrang? Her level is low to begin with, and she is also an auxiliary spirit master. TSK. If this gets out, even if you are killed by the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect, others will scold you for bullying the weak, and you deserve to die. Dame Yubei looked ashamed. Yes, you are right. No, why should I go after you? It's not your fault for what happened today. It's not Ning Rangrang's fault, right? Ning Rangrang didn't say anything to you at the beginning, but you were so mean to her. Think about it. If it were you, could you tolerate it? Dame Yubei felt more and more ashamed. Oh, you're right. I feel a little sorry for her. Don't say sorry to me. Say it to her. But Dame Yubei was a little embarrassed. Zhang Tianyu said, what's there to be embarrassed about? You are a man. It's shameful if you can't face up to your mistakes. Man, go. Yes, I'm a man. I should face up to my mistakes. Dame Yubei nodded and took a deep breath. Then he strode towards Ning Rangrang. Ning Rangrang looked at him angrily. He walked in front of Ning Rangrang and stood still, saying solemnly, I'm sorry Ning Rangrang. I shouldn't have lost my temper with you. Fuck it. The system was convinced. Host, your CPU is really powerful. Zhang Tianyu asked, how high? As high as the 3rd or 4th floor. Chapter 52. Mahanjan is not okay. Ning Rangrang pinched her waist in anger and pointed at Dame Yubei and was about to speak, but she suddenly saw the look in Zhang Tianyu's eyes. She immediately swallowed the words on the tip of her tongue and said, okay, I accept your apology. I hope this won't happen again in the future. Dame Yubei didn't say anything more and turned away. Ning Rangrang turned and looked at Zhang Tianyu, her eyes full of stars. It has to be Zhang Tianyu. So awesome. At the critical moment, he stood in front of her, blocked the attack for her, and then made Dame Yubei sincerely apologize to her. Look at Oscar again. He is as useless as he can be. Dame Yubei suddenly attacked and hurt someone, and he didn't even dare to fart. Well, it's not his fault, because he is just an auxiliary soul master like her. Therefore, the rules of the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect are really correct. She must find a strong fighting soul master as her husband, especially someone like Zhang Tianyu, who is handsome, strong, and warm, a perfect husband. After watching Dame Yubei leave, Zhang Tianyu looked at Ning Rangrang. When Ning Rangrang was looked at by him, her face suddenly turned red, her 2 hands were tangled together, and her 2 index fingers kept poking. At this time, Xiao Wu also walked to Ning Rangrang and supported her shoulders. unlike the original plot, because Ning Rangrang worked hard to get along well with Xiao Wu. When Ning Rangrang showed her true nature as a little witch, Xiao Wu did not have too much rejection of her. Instead, she could understand it a little bit. After all, she is the eldest daughter of a big sect. It would be abnormal if she didn't have a temper. Aren't those second generations in the Xingdao Great Forest also domineering? You, don't be so reckless in the future. Xiao Wu wisely replaced Zhang Tianyu and said to Ning Rangrang, if we weren't here today, I think Daimyo Bei might have killed you. Ning Rangrang pouted, he dares. If he really dares to kill me, my father and my titled Douluo grandfathers will definitely not forgive him. Zhang Tianyu said, yes, they won't forgive him, but what's the point? Everyone was stunned. Zhang Tianyu continued, if he really kills you, even if your father and others kill him, you won't be able to survive. Ning Rangrang was shocked and figured it out. No matter what your identity, status, money, or power, you only have one life. It seems that you understand, Zhang Tianyu said, life is very precious. There is only one life. I personally think that it can be lost to defend important people and beliefs, but it is best not to lose it because of recklessness. It's not worth it. Ning Rangrang nodded with a pale face. Yes, you are right. She was a little scared now. If Daimyo Bei really killed her just now, she would never be able to enjoy such a wonderful life again. No matter what, she would never live again. Of course, Zhang Tianyu smiled. I believe that Liu Dai would not really kill you. At most, there would be some physical conflict. We are all classmates. If Liu Dai really did that, he would cause countless troubles. He knows it. But outsiders will not be so easy to talk to, so in the future, Rangrang, you should be more careful. Ning Rangrang stuck out her tongue and nodded. Well, I know. At this time, Tang San, who had been standing at the back and remained silent, suddenly spoke, Dean. Everyone was stunned and looked back. Sure enough, Flanders and Mahanjan came back. Flanders' expression was a bit complicated, while Mahanjan lowered his head, looking more decadent than Daimyo Bei just now, and his steps were slow and heavy. Except for Ning Rangrang and Oscar, everyone else knew where Mahanjan and Flanders had been, so they were a little surprised when they saw them. Why did they come back so soon? Are all the brothels in the city closed? Or did you not have enough money and were kicked out? Tang San asked curiously. Dean. Fatty? How did you come back so soon? Zhang Tianyu answered bluntly. The brothels were closed. Oscar and Ning Rangrang were stunned, and then they understood what the two had been doing. Ning Rangrang's eyes turned even more disgusted when she looked at Mahanjan and Flanders. Flanders glanced at everyone, sighed, and turned away with his hands behind his back. Mahanjan looked up at everyone, said nothing, and turned to leave. But suddenly he seemed to have discovered something, and raised his head again. However, this time he did not look at other people, but stared at Tang San. Tang San was stunned by his gaze. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me? Mahanjan's eyes flickered, and his lips moved, but he did not speak. In the next second, his eyes suddenly changed, as if he noticed something. Then he retracted his gaze, and turned away quickly. Everyone was a little confused by his behavior. Xiao Wu asked curiously, what's wrong with them? Zhang Tianyu spread his hands. Who knows? Others don't know, but Zhang Tianyu knows very well. Mahanjan is no good. The flagpole can't stand up. Of course, it's not completely impossible to stand up. As long as you find the right person, it can still work. So the question is, who is this right person? Hehehehe. Thinking of Mahanjan's eyes just now, although Zhang Tianyu remained calm on the surface, he couldn't stop laughing in his heart. Ha 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 ha, what the hell? I wonder if something shocking will happen tonight or tomorrow. Okay, there's nothing else to do. Let's go back and rest. We are all exhausted today, Zhang Tianyu said. Everyone nodded. Although Zhang Tianyu is a freshman, in this world where strength speaks, Zhang Tianyu has established prestige in everyone's heart. It won't be long before his prestige can easily surpass Daimyo Bei. 3 boys walked in front and 2 girls walked behind. Ning Rangrang's beautiful eyes looked at Zhang Tianyu from time to time. The more she looked, the sweeter her heart became. Then she looked at Xiao Wu next to her, and she had even begun to calculate who would be the eldest and who would be the youngest in the future. Back to the dormitory, Zhang Tianyu habitually looked in the direction of Zhu Yuking's dormitory. Sure enough, he saw a plump and slender figure on the roof. Oh, little cat, you really can't sleep. Since you can't sleep, your brother, won't sleep either, and will stay with you. After thinking about it, Zhang Tianyu also climbed onto the roof and lay comfortably on the roof enjoying the evening breeze. Shrek Academy is in a village, so it is called a student dormitory, but in fact it is just some houses not very far away. Zhu Yuking naturally noticed that Zhang Tianyu was not asleep and climbed onto the roof like her. She sighed softly and whispered to herself, it would be great if I was Wu. I could go over and sit with him now. Chapter 53 Mahangjan. Tang San. The night breeze was cool and pleasant. Zhang Tianyu breathed a sigh of relief and stared at Zhu Yuking who was sitting on the roof. This moment seemed like a previous life. On that night in the previous life, the two of them also sat opposite each other like this, looking at each other in silence. Then Zhang Tianyu saw that Zhu Yuking actually got off the roof and walked towards him! Exclamation mark. What the hell? After being reborn once, the progress was so fast. When they went up to the roof together on the first night in the previous life, Zhu Yuking quickly went back to her room to sleep. This time she actually took the initiative to come to him, restraining his excitement and his heart that was beginning to beat faster. Zhang Tianyu looked at her indifferently as she walked in front of him. Is there anything? Zhang Tianyu asked. Can I go up and sit? Zhu Yuking asked. Her voice was still so cold, but unlike that kind of coldness, this time her tone added some expectations. Zhang Tianyu stretched out his hand and made a gentlemanly pleased gesture. Zhu Yuking jumped up and floated onto the roof. When she came to Zhang Tianyu and was about to do something, there was a slight click that startled both of them. The next second, there was a crash. Both Zhang Tianyu and Zhu Yuking were stunned. Oh my god. The house collapsed. The roof collapsed. Zhang Tianyu reacted quickly, and Huang Quan appeared beside him, but Zhu Yuking reacted a little slower and fell down with the collapsed roof. In this case, Zhang Tianyu would definitely not escape alone, so he immediately reached out and grabbed Zhu Yuking and pulled her up. In less than a second, he and Zhu Yuking exchanged positions. He was at the bottom and Zhu Yuking was at the top. Then, they fell to the ground with a plop. Zhang Tianyu was lying on his back, and Zhu Yuking was lying on top of him. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. A minute later, the two finally came to their senses. Zhu Yuking blushed and quickly rolled off Zhang Tianyu. Zhang Tianyu also blushed and sat up. Did you fall? Zhang Tianyu asked. Zhu Yuking answered in a panic. No. Ah, that's good. At this moment, the soft part of Zhu Yuking's heart was touched. He was the one who caught me from below, but he was still concerned about whether I was it. This man is so gentle and warm. What kind of quality is this house? Zhang Tianyu said with a pained look on his face. I paid 100 gold soul coins for tuition, and I live in such a house. Oh, my bed. How am I going to sleep tonight? Zhu Yuking couldn't help laughing when she saw Zhang Tianyu wailing on his bed. A smile appeared on her always cold face. Then her face turned red again, and she said apologetically, I'm sorry, I collapsed your roof. What? It's not your fault. How can you be blamed? Zhang Tianyu said, you're a girl, you must weigh less than me, so how much more can we weigh together? It's just that the quality of this house is not good, and the roof is too broken. Apply what you have learned. Never say that a girl is heavy. Even if she is really a pillar, you should praise her for her beauty and good figure. Zhu Yuking looked at the mess in the room and said, what are you going to do tonight? Zhang Tianyu spread his hands. At this time, the villagers must be asleep, so there is no way. We can only go to Soto City to find a hotel to stay for the night. Zhu Yuking's eyes flashed a trace of worry, but it's a bit far, right? I have a flying sword, and the round trip speed is fast, so it's not a big problem. Zhang Tianyu said with a smile. Zhu Yuking nodded, and the two stopped talking. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Zhang Tianyu asked, my roof has collapsed. Why don't we go to your roof? Zhu Zuking's eyes moved, and she thought for a while and nodded. However, it was late at night and the sound of the roof collapsing was quite loud, so other people had been alarmed. Zhang Tianyu shrugged helplessly and could only say to Zhu Zuking, "It seems that other people have been alarmed." Zhu Zuking's eyes flashed with disappointment, and she said, "Then I'll go back first." "Okay, let's talk another day." Zhang Tianyu smiled brightly, and Zhu Zuking's eyes lit up again, and her mood instantly improved. She nodded, turned around and left quickly. Not long after she left, Xiao Wu, Xiaogang and Tang San arrived outside Zhang Tianyu's dormitory. What happened? Everyone looked at the scene in front of them in shock. Zhang Tianyu looked distressed. "How should I know? It collapsed all of a sudden. It almost broke my clothes. I'll find someone to fix it for you tomorrow. I'll find you an empty room tonight." Flanders, who had arrived at some point, said, "I'll go to Soto City to find a hotel. My flying sword can go back and forth quickly." Zhang Tianyu replied. Flanders thought for a while and said, "Okay, be careful. The academy will pay for the room tonight." Zhang Tianyu immediately looked at him with admiration. He didn't expect that this miser could actually pay, but forget it. It's not expensive to find a better hotel single room. Zhang Tianyu doesn't need this little money now. "I'll go with you," Xiao Wu suddenly whispered. Swish. Xiaogang and Tang San immediately focused their attention on her. Xiaogang's eyes became sharp. "What, Xiao Wu, you want to get ahead? You want to be the boss?" Well, Xiao Wu is indeed qualified to be the boss. Then what should I do? I also want to be with him. Forget it. Zhang Tianyu smiled and touched Xiao Wu's hair. "We are no longer 6-year-old children. You will stay in the academy tonight." "Okay." Xiao Wu's face was obviously disappointed, but at this moment, Zhang Tianyu felt a little chilled. Why? Because he found that there was a hint of expectation in Tang San's eyes? Exclamation mark. What the hell is there expectation in your eyes? What the hell do you want to do? You also want to stay in the hotel with me? It's so beautiful that you each. Did Tang San's eyes break your defense, dear? The system asked. Shut up. Zhang Tianyu rolled his eyes. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. System. Hehe. A night passed peacefully. The next morning, Zhang Tianyu returned to the academy after breakfast. When he arrived at the playground, others had just arrived. Tianyu. Xiao Wu saw him and immediately ran over happily. Damu Bei had recovered a lot after a night's rest. He smiled and said, "If you weren't here, Xiao Wu wouldn't have the mood to eat." Xiao Wu blushed and looked at Damu Bei. "You want me to say it? Okay, I won't say it." Damu Bei quickly raised his hands in surrender and then glanced at Zhu Zuking. Zhu Zuking was still the same as before, ignoring him. Alas. He sighed heavily in his heart and had no idea what to do next. Then, he found that Oscar was not there. However, this was not the point. The point was that he suddenly found that Mahanjan's eyes seemed to be a little bit wrong when he looked at Tang San. Chapter 54. Damu Bei was puzzled. As Mahanjan's old roommate, he knew Mahanjan quite well. Mahanjan returned to the dormitory early last night. He curiously asked the reason. Although Mahanjan didn't say anything in the end, he could guess that Mahanjan had to have fun with women because of his evil fire. Flanders had taken him to a brothel last night. As long as he went to a brothel, it would be the same as spending money to buy meat. Flanders and he both had money, so it was impossible for them not to buy meat. But why did Mahanjan still come back early and not vent his evil fire? Last night, he had to go out and do a long period of intense exercise to calm down his evil fire. Damu Bei guessed that the reason was probably that Mahanjan was not good in that aspect. Only this reason could make Mahanjan ashamed to talk to him. After getting up this morning, he also asked Mahanjan, and Mahanjan's answer confirmed his guess. Last night, he happily followed Flanders to the brothel and had already made plans to fight with the women in the brothel for 300 rounds. But after going there, something strange happened. For some reason, he looked at those women and had no idea. That's right. It's out of this world. Are the women in the brothels not good looking? Their figures are not good. Then you can go to another brothel. Daemube said to Mahanjan. Aren't there quite a few brothels in that place? Oh, don't mention it. Mahanjan looked pained. Teacher took me to several brothels and found some high quality women, but I don't know why. I just don't have any interest at all. Daemube felt a little bit sorry for his good brother and said, how about this? I introduce the twins to you? He knew that Mahanjan had been thinking about the twins for a long time. If it was in the past, Mahanjan would definitely jump 3 feet high if he said this, but this time, something weird happened. After listening to it, Mahanjan didn't react at all. He just looked up at him with a pained look and said, oh, forget it, I don't think I'm interested. Fuck it, isn't it? What's going on with you? Daemube was a little panicked on the spot. Have you lost interest in all women? Maybe. Mahanjan said, to be honest, when I think of the twins I saw in the fighting arena last night, fighting against Xiaogang, I have no interest in them anymore. Ah. Daemube was really dumbfounded. The Red Moon and Blue Moon twins were top notch. Even he, who had tasted countless beauties, was very tempted. How could this fat man not be interested? Are you pretending? Daemube asked. Mahanjan said, I hope I'm pretending. I came back without firing a shot last night. Do you think I'm pretending? What did the dean say? Daemube realized the seriousness of the matter. Mahanjan lost interest in women, but the evil fire in his body was still there. This was a big problem. The evil fire might really burn itself or even explode. Mahanjan was also quite depressed. The teacher can't do anything for the time being. He can only observe the situation first. If it's still like this in a few days, if it doesn't work, go find someone to ask and check it out. Daemube sighed and patted his shoulder. We are brothers. If you have any ideas, just tell me. If you need any help, just ask. Mahanjan was a little moved. Thanks, Boss Day. Thanks for nothing. I don't want you to blow yourself up for no reason. The memories ended here, so Daemube was not only upset about Zhu King's affairs, but also a little annoyed by Mahanjan's affairs. And now, just now, Mahanjan's eyes looking at Tang San made Daemube a little creepy. Why? Because the look in Mahanjan's eyes just now was only shown when he saw a beautiful woman and wanted to have fun with her. He and Mahanjan are old roommates, and he knows Mahanjan very well. That look can never be wrong. So, Mahanjan, what the hell do you want to do? Exclamation mark. Could it be that you don't like women anymore because you've changed your taste and like men? Could it be that you're attracted to Tang San? Damn it! Exclamation mark. This is not okay. If that's the case, then the mother of Lokue will be in big trouble. But except for Daemube, no one else noticed Mahanjan's eyes because Flanders had already arrived. Flanders walked over with his 8 character steps as usual, and after a quick glance, he asked, where's Oscar? Sleeping in again? Tang San hurriedly said, when I came out this morning, he was still practicing. Maybe he was in a trance and didn't wake up in time. Flanders frowned. Today's class can't be attended without him. Tang San, go call him. Tang San was about to go back to the dormitory, but saw Oscar running over from the dormitory in a hurry. However, there was no panic of being late on his face, but excitement instead. Oscar, do you want to run laps again? Dean Flanders glared at him. Oscar shook his head quickly. No, Dean, please listen to my explanation. I have broken through. I have reached level 30. What? Not only Flanders, but everyone cast a surprised look at Oscar at the same time. Flanders' eyes lit up obviously. Good. Oscar, you did not disappoint me. You are the 3rd student to reach level 30 among the current students. I congratulate you on behalf of the academy. Everyone congratulated him. Okay. Today's class starts now. Flanders' voice pulled everyone back from congratulating Oscar. Today's class is very simple. Everyone must eat a sausage made by Oscar. Upon hearing this, everyone was stunned, especially the 3 girls, whose expressions suddenly became wonderful. After yesterday's interactions and Daemube's introduction, everyone already knew roughly what Oscar's sausage was, so the girls were a little resistant. This class is something that each of you must do, otherwise, there is no need to stay. Oscar, start. Oscar made a sausage, and Zhang Tianyu was the first to go up. He didn't know how many sausages he had eaten in his previous life, and he had long been accustomed to it. Seeing Zhang Tianyu was the first, Tang San followed him, unwilling to lag behind. Flanders nodded with satisfaction. These two freshmen were great. However, the next second, his expression became weird because he found that when Tang San was eating sausages, Mahanjan's eyes became very strange. It was like the feeling of discovering a new world. As someone who knows Mahanjan very well, Flanders knows that Mahanjan will only show this weird look when he sees a beautiful woman he likes and is very eager to have fun with her. So Mahanjan, what the hell do you mean by this, fat man? Exclamation mark. Chapter 55. My heart hurts so much. At the same time, Daemyu Bei also found that Mahanjan's eyes became more rampant and unscrupulous, and he became more uneasy and flustered. Damn it. This fat man's eyes are really wrong. And this excited look, tut tut tut, no. Very wrong. Could this fat man really have some improper thoughts about Tang San? Thinking of this, Daemyu Bei couldn't help but shudder. If Mahanjan changed his taste, then the first victim would not be someone else, but him, because he has always lived in the same dormitory with Mahanjan. If Mahanjan really changed his taste, and no longer liked women, then he would definitely popularize soul master knowledge to Daemyu Bei in the middle of the night, while Daemyu Bei was sleeping. Thinking of this, Daemyu Bei trembled all over. No wonder he felt that Mahanjan's eyes looking at him were not right last night. It turned out that Mahanjan had actually changed his taste a long time ago, but only tore off his disguise yesterday. If that's the case, then he must have been given a lot of scientific knowledge by Mahanjan. Thinking of this, Daemyu Bei's eyes were filled with tears. No. My chrysanthemum. My lifelong reputation. What should I do? Zhang Tianyu seemed to be watching the situation on the field, but in fact, his attention was basically on Daemyu Bei, Mahanjan and Tang San, because after all, the protagonists today were Mahanjan and Tang San, and because Daemyu Bei and Mahanjan lived in the same dormitory, he guessed that Daemyu Bei should have discovered something, so he also paid attention to Daemyu Bei. Then he noticed the tears in Daemyu Bei's eyes and the expression of despair. He knew that Daemyu Bei could probably see the problem of Mahanjan at the moment, and had already started to have wild thoughts in his mind. Daemyu Bei's worry was completely unnecessary, because under Zhang Tianyu's setting, even if Mahanjan would change his taste, he would only change it for Tang San. If Mahanjan really changed his taste completely, wouldn't Zhang Tianyu be in danger? So that's right, only targeting Tang San. Seeing Tang San finish eating the sausage, Mahanjan's eyes have become like a beast. After all, his evil fire didn't vent last night. He is now suffering from the evil fire, like a beast. Tang San finished eating the sausage, and turned back to the team. Zhang Tianyu nodded at him, and he smiled indifferently. Looking at this smile, Mahanjan suddenly seemed to have arrived in spring. Next was Daemyu Bei. Daemyu Bei was an old student, so he naturally had no resistance to Oscar's sausage, and finished it smoothly. But after eating and returning to the team, he found that Mahanjan was still staring at Tang San. At this time, almost everyone's eyes were on Mahanjan. Because the three girls were very resistant, they would definitely go up last. Now, Zhang Tianyu and Tang San, two freshmen, have set an example. It's time for Mahanjan and Daemyu Bei, two seniors, to set an example. Daemyu Bei has also set an example, and Mahanjan will follow closely. However, Mahanjan stood there, staring at Tang San intently. It was weird enough that he stared at Tang San so straight, and what was even more creepy was that when he stared at Tang San, the expression on his face was actually like a pig. Like a pig. Zhang Tianyu, Xiao Wu and others felt a chill, and Tang San's hair stood on end. Why are you looking at me like that? Tang San finally couldn't help it and asked. Mahanjan laughed horribly. Daemyu Bei finally couldn't help it, and kicked Mahanjan on the butt. You fat guy, hurry up. Mahanjan seemed to remember that he still had things to do, and glanced at Oscar. Oscar was also looking at him with a complicated expression. Although he didn't know what Mahanjan had experienced last night, he could analyze some messy and blushing things just from the look in Mahanjan's eyes when he looked at Tang San. Could it be that this fat guy has changed his taste? And after changing his taste, the first target is Tang San, right? No way, no way. If this is the case, then after Tang San suffered from his poisonous hand, wouldn't it be our turn to suffer from the poisonous hand next? No, no. I have to talk to Day Boss later and discuss it. Mahanjan seemed to have finally noticed his own loss of composure, coughed to cover up his embarrassment, then strode to Oscar, picked up the sausage, and ate it without hesitation. After returning to the team, he did not continue to stare at Tang San as he did before, because he had also noticed that the atmosphere was not right. Now there were only 3 girls left. The 3 girls looked at each other, and none of them wanted to be the first to go up. Then they all looked at Zhang Tianyu at the same time. Zhang Tianyu was annoyed. Why are you looking at me? I only have one. No, this sausage was not made by me. Why are you looking at me? Just when he was about to persuade Xiao Wu, Zhu Xiuqing suddenly seemed to have made up her mind. She stepped out of the team, walked to Oscar, and ate the sausage without hesitation. She wanted to become stronger. She wanted freedom. She wanted to leave this damn family that suffocated her. If she wanted to leave the family, she must have enough strength to fight them. Only by getting stronger. Only by getting stronger continuously. In order to become stronger, what's wrong with eating a sausage? Seeing Zhu Xiuqing eating it, Flanders nodded with satisfaction and said, if you want to become stronger, you have to pay a lot of price. Eating a small sausage is not as difficult as you think. Xiao Wu and Ning Rangrang looked at Zhang Tianyu. Zhang Tianyu nodded at them and gave them an encouraging look. The two finally made up their minds and walked to Oscar. There is really nothing to worry about a sausage. Even if you don't eat it now, if you need to replenish your soul power or heal your wounds in the future, you still won't eat it? Don't eat and wait for death. Seeing everyone finish eating, Flanders nodded with satisfaction. Okay, you all finished this class very well. I originally had other course plans, but because Oscar broke through level 30, the other course plans were temporarily cancelled. Today, all of you go back and have a good rest and try to restore your best condition. Tomorrow morning, we will set off to the Xingdao Great Forest to hunt a suitable soul beast for Oscar. Yes, Dean. Everyone answered in unison. Oscar should have been happy, but now I don't know why I can't be happy. Because when Ning Rangrang was eating the intestines, her beautiful eyes were looking at Zhang Tianyu. It hurts. It hurts so much. Chapter 56. Tang San panicked. At Flender's command, everyone dispersed. Tang San left the fastest because Mahanjan's eyes and expression made him shudder. Why? What was the reason for this expression and eyes? Was there a grudge? No. The one who beat him up was Zhang Tianyu. I was just a bystander. It's terrifying to think about it. And when Tang San left, he felt that strange gaze coming from behind him again. He didn't need to look back to know that it must be Mahanjan's gaze. Except Mahanjan, no one else would look at him with such a strange and confusing look. What's going on? Mahanjan and I don't have a grudge. No, I have to go to Xiaogang to talk about this. On the other side, after everyone dispersed, Zhu Xiuqing still ignored Dame Yubei and left alone. Ning Rangrang and Xiao Wu returned to the dormitory together. Mahanjan stood there and looked at Tang San's back for a while, and Oscar took this opportunity to quietly find Dame Yubei. Boss Day, Fatty is a little strange today. Dame Yubei nodded. Yes, I noticed it too. What's going on? Why does he look at Tang San like that? Oscar frowned in confusion. I remember that he only looked at Tang San with this kind of eyes before. Why is he using it on Tang San now? Dame Yubei's expression was solemn. Let me tell you. Fatty and the Dean came back early last night. Do you know why? Oscar immediately asked. Why? Fatty told me himself that he is no longer interested in brothels. What? Oscar was stunned. Dame Yubei continued. To be precise, I feel that Fatty no longer likes women. He doesn't like all women. This? Oscar was confused. So, although he went to the brothel with the Dean last night, he came back without doing anything because he didn't react at all to those women. What the hell? Oscar was shocked. Then what about the Phoenix evil fire in his body? Dame Yubei's tone became heavier. After he came back last night, he ran many laps outside and did some sports and finally suppressed the evil fire. The expression on Oscar's face became very exciting. So, he doesn't like women because his taste has changed? That's why he looks at Tang San with that kind of eyes? And makes that kind of laugh? I think it's possible. Damu Bei said, and I think that this kind of change in taste must not change all at once. It must be a long process. Otherwise think about it. How much Fatty liked women before? How could he change all of a sudden? Oscar was shocked. No, Boss Day, if what you said is true, then you. Damu Bei's face was full of grief and indignation. That's right. I may have been attacked by him. Oscar, what the hell is going on? What should we do next? Oscar panicked. First it was Damu Bei, and now it's Tang San. It will probably be his turn next. But that's not right. Oscar suddenly thought of something and said, no, wait a minute. Boss Day, excuse me, the most handsome boy in our college right now is Zhang Tianyu. But why doesn't Fatty have any idea about Zhang Tianyu, but Tang San? Damu Bei was stunned. This question made some sense, but he soon found the answer and said, you don't know. When Fatty and Xiaogang met for the first time, Xiaogang pinned him to the ground and beat him up. So I guess he must be very afraid of Xiaogang in his heart, so he didn't dare to set his sights on Xiaogang. As he said that, Damu Bei briefly described the situation that day. Oscar suddenly realized that, if this was the reason, it was completely justified. If he really dared to disrespect Zhang Tianyu, he would probably be pinned to the ground and beaten up by Zhang Tianyu. Fatty is not a fool, and he will definitely not do such a stupid thing. Besides, Damu Bei continued, as the saying goes, different people have different tastes. Maybe after Fatty changes his taste, he likes Tang San. You are more handsome than Tang San, and Fatty has no intention of hitting on you. Oscar nodded, and then suddenly got shocked. Fuck. Could it be that I have been attacked too? I just didn't know it? Damu Bei rolled his eyes. You don't live in the same dormitory with Fatty. How could you be attacked? No, didn't we often go out to visit brothels and drink wine together? Sometimes we would get drunk after drinking too much. Then, we would go to sleep after getting drunk. Could it be that I was attacked at that time? Damu Bei was stunned. Well, it seems possible. Oscar's tears burst out instantly. Ah. No. Exclamation mark. Damn it. My lifelong reputation. But it's just a possibility. Damu Bei had calmed down at this time. Before, the fat man was beaten by Xiaogang because he flirted with Xiao and Ning Rangrong. Oscar asked quickly, did his taste change at that time? How should I know? Damu Bei sighed. Maybe it was a disguise. Maybe. Damu Bei's eyes suddenly lit up. Maybe he wanted to attract Zhang Xiaoyu's attention at that time, but he didn't expect to be beaten by Zhang Xiaoyu, so he didn't dare to hit Xiaoyu anymore, and turned to hit Tang San. Oscar, it's possible. Anyway, our situation is still very dangerous now, so let's just go to the dean to talk about this. That's right, let the dean give you some advice. The two made up their minds, and chased in the direction where Flanders left. Seeing Tang San coming to find him, Zhang Xiaoyu looked surprised and laughed in his heart. What's the matter, San? Zhang Xiaoyu asked. Just now, did you notice the way Mahangjan looked at me? And that expression? And that laugh? Tang San asked. Zhang Xiaoyu frowned. I didn't pay much attention to his expression and eyes, but that laugh, TSK, to be honest, I felt that it was a little bit wrong. Tang San said excitedly, as expected, you also felt that it was wrong. Zhang Xiaoyu nodded. Nonsense. When Mahangjan's big brother laughed, even a fool could see that it was wrong. If I said it was right, wouldn't it be equivalent to exposing myself? Xiaoyu, what do you think of his situation? Why did he show me that kind of expression and eyes? Why did he smile at me like that? Tang San asked in a panic. This, I don't know either. Zhang Xiaoyu spread his hands, thinking that Tang San, you dog thing, now you know how weird and frightening this feeling is, right? If you know, be careful in the future. Otherwise, I will make you and Mahangjan walk the same path as Yu Xiaogang and Flanders in the previous life. Chapter 57. Damu Bei performs stably. Contrary to Zhang Xiaoyu's expectation, nothing happened that night. There was no exclamation from Tang San, nor was there any scream from Mahangjan, nor was there any commotion in the academy. What a rhyme. Mahanjan can hold back his evil fire. He doesn't look like someone who is about to burst by it. The next morning, everyone gathered at the academy gate early. Zhang Tianyu observed everyone's state calmly, and then he found that Tang San and Mahanjan's state was no different from usual. But Oscar and Amyu's state was a little worse than usual. So what's wrong with you two? I didn't trick you. Why do you look so listless for no reason? It's a pity that the Jianghu function has not been activated yet, so there is no way to observe their dynamics in time, and it is impossible to let the system record what they have done. As for asking the system what they did last night, haha, Zhang Tianyu was too lazy to ask, because the system would definitely not tell. I don't know either. The system said helplessly. I didn't pay attention to them. Who would have thought that it was Mahanjan and Tang San who were tricked, but in the end these two were fine, while Amyu and Oscar looked listless. After thinking for a while, the two had guesses in their hearts. Probably, these two people found that something was wrong with Mahanjan yesterday, so they fell into reminiscing about the past and worrying about the future, and thus made themselves exhausted and depressed. After figuring this out, Zhang Tianyu was very happy. These two people are asking for trouble. But think about it, they don't have a god's perspective, don't know what happened, and it makes sense that they misunderstood Mahanjan, which led to their own wild thoughts. This is also good. This is equivalent to tricking all four of them at once. Ah. Cool. Very cool. Hahaha. What's wrong with you two? Flanders noticed something was wrong with Amyu and Oscar, and asked, did you go out again last night? No. Amyu and Oscar answered quickly. At the same time, Amyu looked at Zhu with a guilty look, but Zhu still ignored him. Why do you look so listless? Flanders frowned. As a soul master, even if you don't sleep all night, you won't look like this. If you didn't go out to party all night, what did you do last night? Well, this. The two were speechless for a moment. Flanders said seriously, Oscar, I know you are very happy to break through level 30, but you can't be so presumptuous. Today is for you to get a soul ring. If you are not in good condition, how can you get a soul ring smoothly? I know, Dean. Oscar said, and took a deep look at Flanders. With this look, Flanders probably understood. Yesterday, they had gone to Flanders because of Mahanjan's abnormal behavior. Flanders had no other options. After all, Mahanjan's abnormal state happened too suddenly, so he could only tell the two to go back and observe for a few days. It was estimated that the two did not sleep well last night because of Mahanjan's trivial matter. Well, anyway, try to adjust your own state as soon as possible. I will not accompany you today. Let teacher Zhao take you. Zhao Wuji said, our college does not have a carriage to take you. Everyone will walk to the Xingdao Great Forest with me. No one said anything, and their expressions did not change. They had basically understood the nature of the college. They were poor and backward. They had nothing, and had to rely on themselves for everything. Although they had no expression on their faces at this time, when they saw Zhang Tianyu summon the flying sword and lightly stepped on it, the expressions on their faces turned into visible envy. Let's go. Zhao Wuji gave an order, and everyone ran straight to the direction of the Xingdao Great Forest. Running from early morning to evening, 800 miles of clouds and moon, everyone stopped at the small town 100 kilometers away from the Xingdao Great Forest. Zhang Tianyu looked at this familiar town. It was here that he met Kanghu College, and then Amyu said that those who dare not cause trouble are mediocre. Zhang Tianyu thought about it and decided not to take the initiative to fight Kanghu College this time. Just let these people do it. Anyway, those guys from Kanghu College are not opponents of Amyu and others. After Yuzakio comes out later, it won't be too late for him to take action. Of course, if the system doesn't issue a task, he won't even bother to fight Yuzakio. If you don't do the task, what's the point of fighting these guys? In addition to stretching your muscles, it's useless and you won't get any benefits. So just stand aside and play a coquettish soy sauce, just like watching the live broadcast of the novel plot. The system is also very cooperative, and no tasks were issued this time. Zhang Tianyu shrugged, then think about how to pit Tang San and Zhu next. He had roughly thought of a way to trick Zhu. He would trick her at the time when the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake appeared. And to trick Tang San, hehehe. Any time, any place, any means, to trick Tang San. Bang. The door of the hotel was pushed open, and Shrek and his party strode in. Sitting on the chair, ordering the dishes, and waiting for them to be served comfortably. Zhang Tianyu was also listening carefully. As a result, he waited for a long time, but did not receive the prompt to activate the task. Host, it's just a small Kanghu Academy. It's not worth triggering the task. You don't have to wait. What about Yuzukiyu? Zhang Tianyu asked. Hint, activate the task, seeing a leaf fall, and knowing that the year is about to end. Task target, defeat Yuzukiyu, the teacher leading the Kanghu Academy. Task reward. 100 reward points. Failure penalty, everything reset. If you can't even beat him, then just start over again. Zhang Tianyu. Confirmed, this is a taste of the old system. Just as everyone was waiting for the food to be served, bang. The door of the hotel was violently pushed open again, and a group of people from Kanghu College strode in. However, a problem arose. In the original plot, the fuse of the friction between the two sides was Mahanjan's words, "That girl is good," but now, Mahanjan was tricked by Zhang Tianyu, and had no interest in girls. So after he saw the group of people from Kanghu College, he just took a look, and then retracted his gaze. The plot did not trigger. Zhang Tianyu was upset. What should he do? Do I have to do it? Damn it, I'm too lazy to fight a meaningless fight. However, next, it's just a small Kanghu college. What's the point of being so ostentatious? At the critical moment, it had to be Dame Yubei. Even if Mahanjan didn't start it, Dame Yubei would have said this sentence very naturally. Girl. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 58, Dame Yubei's poor performance. Hearing this provocative remark, everyone in Kanghu Academy looked over. Their expressions and demeanor were very unfriendly. Oscar laughed softly and said, "It's going to be a good show now." The system suddenly said, "Watch the damn show." Zhang Tianyu was stunned. Just as he was about to speak in his heart, the system prompt came. Prompt, activate the task. If you don't dare to cause trouble, you are mediocre. If you dare to cause trouble, you are also mediocre. Task target, harm the Shrek students who will take action next. Let them fail in the next conflict with Kanghu Academy, and then the host will take action and teach everyone in Kanghu Academy a lesson. Task reward, reward points plus 200, soul level plus 1, new soul bone unlocking degree plus 25%. Fuck? Zhang Tianyu was a little confused. Good guy, I heard it right. It is indeed going to trick the other Shrek students who are going to take action next. The system is fighting with the Shrek gang. Fun. Interesting. I like it. But Zhang Tianyu keenly discovered that, after being reborn once, it feels that the system's hostility seems to be a lot heavier than before. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but ask in his heart with some worry, "I say, are you okay? If reset, will there be any adverse effects on you?" "It's not a big problem. Thank you for your concern, host." The system replied in the same tone as before. Although it said so, Zhang Tianyu was still a little worried. Okay, let's finish the task first. The same task is to beat up Kanghu Academy. This time, this task feels much better than the task in the previous life. After all, Zhang Tianyu is not a person who likes to take the initiative to cause trouble. Retracting his thoughts, he heard Oscar whisper to Tang San. Dean Flanders said that those who dare not cause trouble are mediocre, and it is the safest to provoke people from the Soul Master Academy. At most, it will just be a fight. Tang San smiled and said, the quotations of Ardeen can be added together to form a monster quotation. Judging from their age, this Kanghu Academy should be a high-level Soul Master Academy. While speaking, just like the original plot, a boy from Kanghu Academy stood up and walked towards Dame Yubei. Zhang Tianyu looked at the boy and thought, little brother, just thank me. If it weren't for me, you would be in trouble today. The male student walked to the waiter who was serving the dishes and deliberately bumped into him. The waiter exclaimed and slammed the plate in his hand directly onto Daemubei's head. Daemubei looked disdainful. You still want to mess with him? However, just as he was about to make a move, his expression suddenly changed. No. My hand. According to the original plot, Tang San should have stood up at this time and used a move to control the crane and capture the dragon to catch the plate, but Zhang Tianyu had already made all the preparations. At the critical moment, Tang San was about to move, but suddenly the tendons in his arm jumped. Oh my god. Tang San replied with an expression. My arm is cramped. It hurts. Ah. I can't use the control crane and capture the dragon. At the same time, without Tang San's intervention, the plate went straight to Daemubei's head. Daemubei was also in pain at the moment, because his arm suddenly became sore and weak at this moment, and he could only barely lift it up to hit the plate, to prevent it from hitting his head. And all this was in Zhang Tianyu's plan. Bang! The plate was hit by Daemubei's hand, and then drew a beautiful arc in the air, and flew straight to Tang San. Tang San was completely confused. Ah. Why did it fly towards me? But now, everyone was too late to react, and Tang San's hand was still cramping. Whoosh bang. The plate was firmly and accurately hit on Tang San's head. Crash. All the vegetables and soup inside flowed out, directly flowing all over Tang San's head and face. Great. Tang San turned into a pizza. Hulala. Seeing this, everyone in Shrek Academy stood up and glared at the male student from Kanghu Academy. No one looked at the waiter. The waiter was just an ordinary person and could not resist the power of the spirit master. Oh, sorry. The male student showed an expression that looked like he deserved a beating and smiled. My foot slipped. I'm so sorry, he said this and still walked forward, looking like he was going to pass by Daemubei, but one of his feet quietly swept across and kicked directly at a chair leg under Daemubei's crotch. Because Daemubei had already stood up, he didn't intend to kick off a chair leg to make Daemubei sit unsteadily, but to kick the chair to the bend of Daemubei's legs, so that Daemubei could not stand steadily and kneel on the ground. Daemubei glared at him. How could he not see the other party's little trick? His body was extremely strong and firm, and even if he stood there motionless, the male student would definitely not be able to kick him. So he was ready. When the male student kicked his leg and was hit by the recoil, he slapped the damn thing away with one palm. However, when the male student kicked the chair leg and the chair leg hit his knee, his arm was no longer sore and weak, but his legs suddenly became sore and weak. So under this shock, with a plop, he fell to his knees, and the direction he knelt was facing Zhang Tianyu. Great. Thank you, a passerby from Kanghu Academy. Thank you for letting him kneel for me. As a thank you, I will be gentler when I hit you later. Ha 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 ha. The moment Daemubei knelt on the ground, everyone in Kanghu Academy burst into ugly and harsh laughter. Unexpectedly, this guy who was full of arrogant words and sarcastic about it's just a small Kanghu Academy seemed to be very awesome, but he was actually so rubbish. Such a rubbish also had the nerve to satirize others? Oh, the male student stopped pretending. I'm sorry, I kicked your chair by accident, but I didn't expect your legs to be so soft. Like noodles. Ha ha ha. At this moment, Daemubei was completely furious. He could feel the contemptuous look Yu Xiaogang gave him without even looking up. You're looking for death, Mahanjan said angrily, and all the people in Shrek summoned their martial spirits to possess their bodies. The people in Kanghu Academy were not to be outdone, and they also summoned their martial spirits to possess their bodies. But when the two sides compared, the people in Kanghu Academy immediately fell behind, because Shrek had two soul masters, and their soul rings were all in the best configuration of yellow and purple. Kanghu Academy was in a terrible situation, not to mention a group of level 20 little guys, whose soul rings were all in the best configuration of white and yellow. At this moment, Kanghu Academy realized that they were in trouble. But it was too late to get into trouble, and they had already torn their faces apart. But what puzzled them was that the guy kneeling on the ground was obviously a soul master. Obviously a soul master. Obviously with such a huge momentum. But why were his legs so soft? Kneeling down after being hit by a stool. Chapter 59 5 Spice Softening Powder. Both sides activated their martial spirits, and the battle was about to start. At this time, the weak, helpless, and pitiful hotel owner stood up and said in horror, "This small shop has a small profit margin. Please, all the soul masters, please show some mercy, please show some mercy." Dame Yu Bei glanced at him and then glared at everyone in Kanghu Academy. "Do you dare to go out and fight?" The male student at the beginning was about to speak and Yu Xiaogang stood up. "Which sect are you from?" He had to stand up. At first, seeing that Dame Yu Bei and Tang San were so easily dealt with, he thought they were weak. As a result, after showing their martial spirits and spirit rings, he realized that these children of such young age were so strong. But he also couldn't understand it. Why were they so strong, but they were still so miserable? Because of the little tricks of the male student. It's not like pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Tang San has become a pizza. Too miserable. Dame Yu Bei also knelt on the ground, even more miserable. It's nothing to be beaten down in a fight between soul masters, but being beaten to your knees is a great shame. "Stop talking nonsense," Dame Yu Bei said angrily, pointing at the boy. "If you have the guts, go out and fight. Don't be a coward. Go outside." Zhang Tianyu also made an angry voice. Huang Quan cooperated very well, releasing the cold black death aura, and everyone who came into contact with this aura trembled all over. Tang San's face was as cold as ice, and he was murderous. Although he brought a change of clothes, he was poured into pizza in front of so many people. He couldn't save his face. He had to let the boy suffer a little, otherwise he couldn't swallow this breath. The male student was suppressed by the momentum of the Shrek people at this moment, and he was a little breathless, including the classmates around him. At this moment, they no longer had the ease and comfort at the beginning, only endless fear. Yu Xiaogang looked at the students around him and knew that it would be difficult to resolve this matter today. However, the other group of people was too strong. Letting the students go was tantamount to sending them to their deaths. Therefore, Yu Xiaogang simply released the spirit of the Black Tortoise, and the aura of the Soul King spread out in an instant, suppressing the aura of the Shrek people. The Kanghu students finally breathed a sigh of relief. "I'm now solemnly asking you, which sect are you from?" "Why do you care what sect we are from?" Mahanjan said angrily. "Let's talk about it after the fight is over." Dame Yu Bei glared at the male student. "Are you going out or not? You're not going out, right? You want to be a coward, right?" The male student definitely didn't dare to show his head and hid directly behind Yu Xiaogang. The eyes of the Shrek people shifted to Yu Xiaogang. Dame Yu Bei said coldly, "It seems that there is no way to teach them a lesson unless you are eliminated." Yu Xiaogang narrowed his eyes and laughed angrily. "You are young, but you are so arrogant. Do you want to eliminate me?" Zhang Tianyu said directly. "Stop talking nonsense. Get out. Or do you want to be a coward?" Mahanjan sneered. "He is an old bastard. Yu Xiaogang was furious. Even if these people are from big sects today, he will teach them a lesson. Very good. Get out." Yu Xiaogang walked out of the gate first, and the Kanghu students followed him quickly. Zhang Tianyu and others also followed him out aggressively. The group came to the open space outside and stood still. Yu Xiaogang no longer asked about their origins, and directly set up a battle formation. "Come on." Dame Yu Bei's anger finally found an object to vent. He roared and rushed up with a punch. Zhang Tianyu showed a solemn expression on his face, but he was very happy in his heart. Dame Yu Bei, you are really blinded by anger. You are not Yu Xiaogang's opponent in the first place, and now you don't even have a battle plan. You just rush up blindly. Haha, you are simply looking for death. This is good, so I don't have to trick you. Yu Xiaogang saw that the other party had no rules, and Dame Yu Bei rushed up directly and immediately showed a contemptuous smile on his face. Haha, you are looking for death. Then I will grant you your wish. Of course, Dame Yu Bei didn't foolishly punch him with his fists. Even if he was blinded by anger, he wouldn't be so faint. He stopped a few meters away from Yu Xiaogang and directly used a white tiger fierce light wave. At the same time, Mahanjan's Phoenix Fire Line and Tang San's Blue Silver Entanglement also flew over simultaneously. Yu Xiaogang activated his first soul skill, the Black Tortoise Body Protection, and easily blocked the soul skills of the three people. A group of little brats think that they can be arrogant just because they have a little talent and strength. Yu Xiaogang was very proud. Today, I will let you know what it means that there is always someone better than you. However, a few inconspicuous fireballs suddenly hit his tortoise shell. Yu was even more proud and disdainful. These fireballs were even more rubbish. The 3 soul skills that hit him before, although they could not break his defense, at least they could make him feel the vibration of the shield being hit. Look at these fireballs again. There was no reaction when they hit him. Not even a reaction. Is this the soul skill of another soul master? TSK. It seems that, although these little guys are all at a high level and have good soul ring configurations, in fact, their strength is very poor. Hiss. Yu suddenly shook all over. The places hit by the fireballs suddenly felt a strange and burning pain. This is impossible. He observed his state in great shock. What can be confirmed is that his black tortoise body protection is maintained very well and has not been broken at all. His defense is still so impeccable. The fireball did not break his defense at all. But why does the place where I was hit hurt? Wait a minute. This pain doesn't come from the skin, nor from the muscles, nor even from the bones. Could it be, this is the pain from the soul? Exclamation mark. Yu was numb, and there was also a strange soul skill like, attack the soul. When he looked up and saw more fireballs flying, he knew that he couldn't passively defend anymore. He had to take the initiative to attack. Thinking of this, his second soul ring lit up, and the second soul skill, mysterious water freezing, was activated. The ice blue light shone and flew straight towards Zhang Tianyu. Everyone in Shrek stood together, and Anew had always been accustomed to standing in the front, so when he saw the opponent's soul skills coming, Anew had to be the first to block it. However, with his soul power, how could he possibly block the soul skills of the Soul King? What's more, there was Zhang Tianyu, the 6th brother, who was outputting in reverse from behind. 5-spice softening powder was activated. In an instant, Anew hands were sore and weak. The soul power that was originally gathered in his hands also dissipated instantly. In just this moment, the opponent's soul skills penetrated directly, and Anew turned into an ice sculpture on the spot. Boss day. Everyone exclaimed. Chapter 60 Brothers are priceless. Tang San was furious. He took back the frozen blue silver grass and used Ghost Shadow to rush towards Yu. This old turtle not only had high defense, but also strong attack power. It could even add freezing effect. Tang San had already started to kill. He wanted to circle around Yu as fast as possible, find the weakness of this old turtle, and then kill him with poison needle. However, what he didn't expect was that 5-spice cramp powder was activated. Just when Tang San rushed to Yu and was about to turn to avoid Yuzakiyu's front, his left leg suddenly cramped. Ah! Tang San was shocked and rushed towards Yuzakiyu uncontrollably with a cry of surprise. Yuzakiyu had realized that these juniors were not ordinary people. Seeing Tang San rushing over, how could he dare to underestimate the enemy? When Tang San rushed to the front, he directly used the 3rd soul skill, Zuanshu Agitation. The moment Tang San touched Yuzakiyu's soul ring, the whole person was repelled, and a layer of ice formed on his body during the repelling process. Like Damu, he turned into an ice sculpture on the spot. At the same time, Mahanjan's fire line had also hit Yuzakiyu. Yuzakiyu's skill can rebound and freeze. Although the Phoenix fire line skill was not frozen and was still attached to Yuzakiyu's tortoise shell and burned, the soul power's recoil actually hit Mahanjan's body, so a layer of ice also formed on Mahanjan's body and turned into an ice sculpture. In an instant, the 3 main combat boys all turned into ice sculptures. Beautiful. I like your way. The system laughed heartily. Zhang Tianyu smiled in his heart. The first half of the mission has been completed. Next, he only needs to kill Yuzakiyu and other students of Kanghu Academy to complete the mission. After freezing the 3 people, Yuzakiyu was not happy. Although the cooperation of these 3 people was good, and they had a tendency to break his first soul skill, the one who could really threaten him and make him a little scared was Zhang Tianyu. Zhang Tianyu's fireball was too weird and completely ignored his defense. So he used the 2nd soul skill again, and this time the target was directly aimed at Zhang Tianyu. Tianyu, be careful. Zio Wu and Ning Rong shouted in unison. Ningrangrang's auxiliary soul skill had been added to several people a long time ago, but the 3 people were still frozen, and Oscar couldn't fight. So now, Zhang Tianyu is the hope of the whole village. Seeing the opponent's Zuanshui's soul skill rushing over, Zhang Tianyu shouted angrily, "Dare to freeze my brother? You are looking for death." Huangquan. Boom. 9 Nither worlds activated. In an instant, a black tombstone appeared in the air, and the agitated black death aura and the terrifying icy breath suddenly erupted. The sound of ghosts crying and wolves howling was endless, and Yizukyu's ears were almost deafened in an instant. And the Zuanshui's soul skill he sent out also dissipated out of thin air at the moment the tombstone appeared. "You old turtle, I give you face." Zhang Tianyu shouted angrily, hell flying flame. Whoosh. Hundreds of fireballs rushed towards Yizukyu densely, and Yizukyu's face was pale. "So many fireballs?" Exclamation mark. What made him even more heartbroken was that with the appearance of the tombstone, the sound of ghosts crying and wolves howling exploded in his mind, and the soul power in his body was running extremely slowly, as if it was frozen. He wanted to use the 4th or 5th soul skill, but the soul power was mobilized very slowly. The slower the soul power was mobilized, the slower it would be to use it. So the speed of his hands has really become a turtle speed now. It's over. In this way, before he could use his 4th soul skill, the opponent's fireball would drown him. "Stop. I admit defeat. No more fighting," Yizukyu yelled. Although saying this would make him lose face, as a teacher, a soul king, he actually admitted defeat to a child, a soul master. This is very embarrassing. But compared to losing his life, humiliation is obviously easier to accept. Zhang Tianyu shouted angrily, "You frostbite my brother, and you still want me to let you go? Dream. We Shrek Academy are united as a rope. If you dare to hurt any of us, I will not forgive you." As soon as these words came out, everyone in Shrek was moved. It has to be Zhang Tianyu. So awesome. So loyal. So manly. Stop. No. I can pay you money. Go to hell. Zhang Tianyu yelled, "Brotherhood is priceless." Tianyu. Mahongjin was moved to tears. Daimyo Bei and Tang San were also moved. Just for this sentence, brotherhood is priceless. Zhang Tianyu is enough to be their lifelong good brother. Look at how touched they are. Those who don't know would think you are their adopted parents. The system mocked, alas, if they knew it was you who did it, making their legs sore and cramped. I wonder how they would react. They can react whatever they want. Zhang Tianyu said happily. Anyway, they can't beat me. Ha ha ha, no problem. The system was happy. Hu hu hu. Under the influence of the 9 Nether Senlo domain, Yizukyu not only found it difficult to perform soul skills, but even his body movements became extremely slow. In addition, the fireballs of hell flying flame are all tracking, so Yizukyu can't even dodge. In less than 5 seconds, Yizukyu ate hundreds of fireballs. Ah. Ah. A shrill scream broke out from his mouth. Zhang Tianyu looked at him with a bit of sympathy, because even in the previous life, no enemy had ever eaten so many soul-burning fireballs. Ordinary people would feel so painful after eating 1 or 2, not to mention eating so many. This kind of fireball directly burns the soul, and there is no medicine to cure it, and there is no way to solve it. Even a titled Douluo of the healing system is helpless. The cruelest thing is that, even if a person tortured by this kind of fireball dies, his soul will continue to be burned, and the pain will be endless and never ending. There is only one way to get rid of the pain. Let Zhang Tianyu take action to relieve the burning of the soul fire. There is no other way. But soon, Zhang Tianyu's sympathy completely disappeared. This is the Douluo continent. If you are weak, you will be bullied and tortured, and if you fall behind, you will be beaten. Thinking back then, why could Xiaogang and others plot against him, but he could only rely on system reset? It was because he was weak and not strong enough to fight against Xiaogang and others. So he should put away those indifferent sympathies and adapt to this world of the survival of the fittest. Sympathy and compassion should only be reserved for the girl around him and those innocent people. Everyone else? Ignoring Yizukyu's wailing, Zhang Tianyu slowly turned around and looked at everyone in Kanghu College expressionlessly. Next, it's your turn. I can't help it. I have a mission to complete, so come here and let daddy beat you up. Chapter 61 Old Yuan Zhang Tianyu. Chapter 61. Zhang Tianyu, the old cunning man. At this moment, everyone in Kanghu Academy understood. Although there are 2 soul masters in the group of people on the opposite side, the only soul master who can really fight is the one with the sword martial soul. The rest are scum. Therefore, facing Zhang Tianyu shouting, all the students of Kanghu Academy were scared pale. Even their teacher Yu Xiaogang was defeated by Zhang Tianyu. If these little minions go up, aren't they also looking for death? They dare not go up because of fear, but Zhang Tianyu will not let them go. Everything must be based on the mission. You don't want to take the initiative, right? Okay. Don't say I didn't give you a chance. After speaking, Zhang Tianyu waved his hand. Whoosh. Huangquan turned into a black light and flew towards the Kanghu students and released 4 or 5 waves of fireball attacks during the flight. Everyone in Kanghu Academy hurriedly dodged and resisted. But even Yu Xiaogang couldn't stop Huangquan's attack, let alone this group of little fans. As a series of screams rang out, all the people in Kanghu Academy, including the girl, fell to the ground, wailing and screaming. Dare to cause trouble for us, Shrek. This is the consequence. Zhang Tianyu looked at these people coldly and said sternly. Tianyu, Daimyu Bei, Tang San and others were deeply moved. Good brothers. These are good brothers who really take their affairs as their own. However, before they could continue to speak, Xiao Wuji's deep voice sounded behind them. But, well done. Everyone turned around and saw Xiao Wuji walking towards them with his 8 character steps. Not bad. Really good. Xiao Wuji looked at Zhang Tianyu without blinking. The dean and I have long said that the strength of your mutant martial soul is very high. Your strength cannot be measured by the soul power level alone. Your strength is far beyond that of ordinary soul masters. Now it seems that you are worthy of our evaluation of you and have not disappointed us. While speaking, Xiao Wuji also looked at Yu Xiaogang, who was lying on the ground, with contempt and said, this old bastard still thinks he is some powerful stuff. My students are right. You Kanghu Academy are a bunch of garbage, waste. The people of Kanghu Academy who were lying on the ground and wailing were suffering from severe physical and mental double injuries at this time. Being beaten like this and being called garbage and waste at the same time. I want to die. Seeing their miserable state, Daimyu Bei, Mahanjan and others smiled. What are you laughing at? Xiao Wuji scolded. You 3 together are no match for him. How dare you smile here? Daimyu Bei and the other 2 immediately stopped smiling, looking pained. Zhang Tianyu's mutant martial spirit is powerful, but we are not mutant martial spirits. We can't be that powerful. Xiao Wuji seemed to realize this, waved his hand and said, okay, I'm too lazy to say anything. Go back to eat, go to sleep after dinner, and get enough rest. Yes, teacher. Everyone answered in unison. As for the people from Kanghu Academy who fell to the ground, no one looked at them again. Hint, congratulations. Seeing a leaf fall, and knowing that the year is about to end, mission completed. Mission reward. 100 reward points. Hint, congratulations. Not daring to cause trouble is mediocre. You who dare to cause trouble are also mediocre. Mission completed. Mission reward. Reward points plus 200. Soul power level plus 1. New soul bone unlocking degree plus 25%. Hint, the new soul bone unlocking degree has reached 100% and new soul bones are being extracted. Extraction completed. Hint, congratulations on obtaining the soul bone. Kang He Yuming left leg bone. Kang He Yuming left leg bone from the 100,000-year-old soul beast Bu Karo with the skills Kang He Man Shan and Kan Ren Ki Zhu. Zhang Tianyu's eyes lit up. Got this new soul bone. 6. Kang He Man Shan is a magical skill. When any fatal damage is received, it can erase the time point of the damage, thereby completely avoiding this damage. It is a real time type soul skill. It can be called a fully automatic epitaph. Relatively speaking, mermaid weeping pearls are much more ordinary. They can only turn the water they touch into teardrop-shaped pearls and launch them for long-range attacks. Their speed and attack power are higher than Tang San's hidden weapons. After obtaining this powerful soul bone and looking at the level, Zhang Tianyu was in a good mood. He only needed 1 level to reach level 40 in this life. In order to prevent repeating the mistakes of his previous life, he must reach the top as quickly as possible, at least to have the strength to fight against the gods. Resetting is a tactical retreat, which means that there will be no shortage of firewood. To put it bluntly, it is cowardice, and not daring to fight. So resetting once is enough. This time, even if he can't beat the group of gods, Zhang Tianyu will fight them to the death. Ahem. Let's talk about desperate things later, the system said. What are you going to do with these people now, host? Zhang Tianyu collected his thoughts and looked down at the people from Kanghu Academy who were lying on the ground wailing. If Zhang Tianyu didn't help them remove the burning effect, then they would be miserable. Not only would they have to endure the pain of the flames burning their souls for the rest of their lives, but they would not even have peace after death. Zhang Tianyu thought about it and said to himself, I will help them remove it later. The system instantly understood what Zhang Tianyu meant. The so-called removal is not really a removal, but a suppression in their bodies, so that they are not affected by the pain of the flames. However, if these guys dare to take revenge on Zhang Tianyu or Shrek, then the suppression will be lifted immediately, allowing the soul fire to burn again in their bodies. But I believe that, as long as they are not fools, they will not dare to cause trouble to Shrek and Zhang Tianyu again. Of course, at the time of the Soul Master competition, according to the main plot, the other people from Kanghu Academy, as well as Shinan, will definitely cause trouble to Shrek. At that time, the suppression will be lifted, and they will experience what it means to be a fire in winter. Thank you. Thank you. Yizuki finally got rid of the pain, stopped wailing, and stood up to thank Zhang Tianyu for his consecutive victories. At this moment, he and the group of students behind him no longer dared to be disrespectful to Zhang Tianyu and Shrek. At least on the surface. Zhang Tianyu nodded with a somewhat indifferent expression. I did this because I didn't want to completely tear my face apart. Now I have taken a step back and hope that your academy understand. Yizuki said quickly. We will not be enemies with you anymore. We will leave now. After that, he took a group of students, turned around and ran without looking back, and soon ran out of sight. Tianyu, you are so kind, and helped them relieve their pain. Ningrangrang said. Zhang Tianyu said, I have taught them a lesson. There is no need to make a mortal enemy. Besides, I have not really lifted it. I have just suppressed it. If I want, I can continue to torture them anytime and anywhere. I see. Everyone smiled evilly. When it comes to using dirty tricks, it has to be Zhang Tianyu. Chapter 62. The best man in the world. The next morning, everyone got up early and ran towards the Xingdao Great Forest. Zhang Tianyu knew that, if nothing unexpected happened, he would definitely see Meng Yiren again today. In the previous life, the system naturally did not let this girl go and issued some tasks to improve her favorability. But unfortunately, because she was not a main character, and the previous life ended too hastily and suddenly, he failed to successfully get her into bed. Let alone Meng Yiren, that's lender waste, prrr. In this life, I must find a way to get her into bed as soon as possible. Of course, the biggest regret is Bibidong. In the previous life, I was about to get Bibidong, but something went wrong. Alas. So in this life, why not go directly to Wuhan City after the Soto City plot is over? Zhang Tianyu's eyes lit up. This is something I can consider. Because the first person he got in his last life was Liu Erlong. So in this life, he can put Liu Erlong aside and deal with Bibidong first. As for whether Liu Erlong will be taken away by Yu Xiaogang, if he doesn't intercept, he is not worried, because he can trap Yu Xiaogang after the Soto City plot is over, or use other methods to get rid of him. If it doesn't work, he can put him in a sack and hit him with a club. After all, he and his martial soul are garbage. Thinking of this, Zhang Tianyu nodded secretly and kept the matter of going to Wuhan City in advance in mind. The details will depend on the development of the plot in the future. The group entered the forest, and the hustle and bustle of the world seemed to be completely isolated in an instant. The only sound in their ears was the sound of insects coming from everywhere, and the rustling of leaves in the wind. Even a master like Zhao Wuji must be cautious after entering the Xingdao Great Forest. After all, there is only one life. Many masters have fallen into carelessness and small ditches. At noon, everyone came to the familiar open space and stopped to rest, drink water and eat sausage. At this time, as Zhang Tianyu expected, a rustling sound was heard, and the takeaway man arrived. Zhao Wuji shouted loudly, "Everyone get up, there is something telling you to get closer." The rustling sound grew louder and louder. Even Oscar and Ning Rangrong, who were auxiliary soul masters, could clearly feel how fast the unknown creature was approaching. "ZHU Zuking, see what it is," Zhao Wuji ordered in a deep voice. ZHU Zuking did not say anything, but quietly jumped up, and the claws on her hands popped out. She quickly climbed up a big tree next to her, as if she was walking on flat ground, and looked in the direction of the sound. It seems to be a flying snake, but it can't fly high. It can only fly forward about 3 meters above the ground. It has a fleshy crown on its head, which looks bigger than its head, and is bright red like blood. Its tail is quite special and fan-shaped. Zhao Wuji's eyes lit up. It's a wine-tailed cockatoo. This kind of soul beast is quite rare. The fleshy crown on its head has many wonderful functions. Oscar, you are blessed, but it's a pity that I don't know how old this wine-tailed cockatoo is. ZHU Zuking, keep an eye on the direction it is moving. Report to me immediately if there is any change. With ZHU Zuking's report, Tang San determined that this was a 1,000-year-old phoenix-tailed snake, which was just right for Oscar. Oscar's expression became excited when he heard it. Zhang Tianyu looked at the 2-centimeter long hair on his head, and his face was also happy for him, but in his heart, "Hey, Oscar, do you think I will let you get the soul ring so smoothly? Dream on your bald head. Not only will I not let you get it smoothly, I will not let go of your newly grown hair. Here it comes." ZHU Zuking's voice rang out. Then she actually pounced directly from the air, not afraid at all that the opponent was a 1,000-year-old soul beast. Her sharp claws and the first soul ring on her body lit up at the same time. Netherworld thrust activated. It was a huge snake, and its appearance was, just as ZHU Zuking described, about 6 or 7 meters long. It had a bright red flesh crown on its head, which looked a bit ferocious. Its body, which was moving forward at a fast speed, was hit by ZHU Zuking. ZHU Zuking's Netherworld thrust directly hit the flesh crown on its head. The wine-tailed cockscomb snake reacted quickly. Although it rushed forward quickly, its head tilted in a hurry. ZHU Zuking's claws did not hit the flesh crown, but hit it on its body. With a muffled sound, the speed of the wine-tailed cockscomb snake's rush was immediately reduced by a few points. The phoenix snake turned its head to look at ZHU Zuking angrily, and suddenly spit out a fierce fire. That's right, it did not spit out colorful fog, but fire. It sprays, but the mist is non-toxic. Tang San was stunned before he finished speaking. What the hell? Where is the spray? Why is it spraying fire? Not only everyone, but the phoenix-tailed cockscomb snake itself was also stunned on the spot. When the hell did I learn to spit fire? ZHU Zuking was caught off guard and was hit directly by the flames. The whole person groaned and fell from the sky uncontrollably. Be careful. Dame Yubei quickly recovered and shouted in shock. However, although he was quick to speak, some people were quick with their hands. The moment he screamed, a black light suddenly rushed into the air and steadily held ZHU Zuking, who was falling, in his arms. It was Zhang Tianyu. You can always believe in Huanquan's speed. Feeling this familiar breath, ZHU Zuking's heart, which had just been hanging, quickly let go. Sure enough, at the critical moment, she still had to rely on Zhang Tianyu. However, the next second, she suddenly felt that Zhang Tianyu's expression was not right. Moreover, Zhang Tianyu did not hold her to the ground, but held her and flew to the thick branches of another tree. And Zhang Tianyu did not dare to look at her during the whole process, and there was a trace of embarrassment and shyness on his face. Then ZHU Zuking suddenly noticed something, looked down, and her face turned pale instantly. She realized that the fire breathed by the phoenix-tailed cockscomb snake just now, although it did not hurt her, burned all her clothes on the front, and a large white area on her chest was exposed. If I carry you down, other people will see it too. Zhang Tianyu tilted his head and did not look at her. I didn't mean to see it. Sorry, I'll go down first. You find a place to change clothes first. After speaking, Zhang Tianyu did not look at her and jumped directly, landed steadily on the yellow spring, and flew away. After experiencing the initial panic, Zhu Xiaogang finally calmed down. She looked at Zhang Tianyu's back, and her expression and eyes were a little moved. This is really a good man. After discovering that her clothes were torn, he didn't stare at her or tease her, but considered her, and didn't let her fall to the ground, avoiding her unbearable side from being seen by others. So gentle. This is a real good man. And thinking back to Zhang Tianyu's shy look just now, Zhu Xiaogang couldn't help but feel a little sweet in her heart. He looks so cute when he's shy. Chapter 63 Douluo Good System. Zhu Xiaogang also has her own storage soul guide. In fact, the children of such a big family have more or less such a thing. After all, this thing is not an offensive soul guide, so it is not very precious. The storage space is definitely not as large as Tang San's belt, but it is not a problem to carry some spare clothes, necessary medicines and the like. Zhu Xiaogang didn't look back, but jumped away from the branch and went to another tall bush. With the help of Zhao, the people on the ground subdued the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake. Then everyone wondered why she jumped to another place and didn't come back. Daimyo Bei hurriedly found Zhang Tianyu. Where did Xiaogang go? Zhang Tianyu spread his hands. What are you talking about? Why did she tell me where she was going? She said to put her on the branch, and she came down after I put her down. Daimyo Bei was embarrassed. Yes, I was a little anxious. I'm sorry. Zhang Tianyu smiled very open-mindedly. Why are we talking about this, brothers? You can ask her yourself when she comes back. Daimyo Bei nodded, looking at Zhang Tianyu gratefully. Thank you for your help just now. You're welcome. Hehe, Daimyo, if you knew what I did just now, you definitely wouldn't thank me. How abominable. Daimyo Bei's face was filled with anger. What's wrong with this broken snake? It's obviously not a fire type soul beast, so how could it spit out flames? It almost hurt Zhu Xiaogang. Really, if the snake wasn't just right for Oscar, Daimyo Bei would definitely teach this snake a lesson and then torture it to death. Yes, Tang San also frowned. The phoenix-tailed cockatiel is a non-venomous snake. It can only spit out non-toxic colorful fog. How can it spit out flames inexplicably? It's not a winged fire snake. Could it be a mutated soul beast? Mutated soul beast. Everyone was stunned. They had heard of mutated martial spirits, but they had never heard of mutated soul beasts. It's possible. Zhao said, martial spirits can mutate, let alone soul beasts. If it is really a mutated soul beast, Oscar, you are blessed. Hurry up and kill it to get the soul ring. Oscar took the dagger excitedly and was about to pierce the snake's head when Xiaogang and Meng Yiran appeared. Wait. What's the matter? Zhao glanced at the grandfather and grandson. The 7 soul rings on his body shocked Xiaogang. Xiaogang immediately put away his initial arrogance and said politely, hello, respected soul saint. You can't give this phoenix-tailed cockatiel to this child. Zhao held the phoenix-tailed cockapoo with one hand and winked at Oscar, signaling him to wait, then turned to Xiaogang and asked, why? Xiaogang replied, because we were the first to discover this snake and started hunting it. Otherwise, how could we have tracked it all the way here? The two sides exchanged a few words and inquired about each other's details. Then Xiaogang and Zhao were a little upset. On one side was the snake lady among the dragon men and snake ladies, and on the other side was the notorious Akala. Both sides were not easy to deal with. If the dragon man was here, Zhao would naturally not dare to fart too much, and would definitely hand over the phoenix-tailed cockapoo obediently. But there was only one snake lady, which was not enough to make Zhao surrender obediently. The two sides argued for a long time, and neither of them would give up the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake easily. In the end, the snake lady suggested that the younger generations of both sides have a duel to decide the ownership of the snake by the victory or defeat. I'm afraid that won't work. Zhao looked embarrassed because my student is a support type soul master and I can't have a duel with your granddaughter. Support type. Support type. So young and already level 30? The snake lady was confused. Oscar was so young, and he was also a support type soul master, but he was already at the same level as her granddaughter? This is simply a genius. Yeah, so there's nothing we can do. Xiao Wuji spread his hands. Tang San was about to speak when Meng Yiren suddenly said, then just change someone. Xiao Wuji and Shipo were both stunned. They were about to ask her who she wanted to change when Meng Yiren stretched out her little white hand and pointed at Zhang Tianyu. Let's choose him. These days, everyone is appearance oriented. When choosing an opponent, of course they all choose someone who looks good. On Shrek's side, Oscar's hair is too short, and he has a beard, so his looks are overshadowed. There are only two good-looking ones left, Damu Bei and Zhang Tianyu. Meng Yiren is not stupid. Oscar is 1 grade younger than her, and has the same level as her. If she chooses Damu Bei, who looks older, then his level is probably higher. So it's better to choose Zhang Tianyu. Not only is he the most handsome, but he also looks younger than Oscar. I think his level is definitely not as high as Oscar's. He's just a great soul master, and she can definitely beat him. The snake woman glanced at her. She knew her granddaughter best. Well, this boy is good looking and pleasing to the eye. Her granddaughter probably chose him for selfish reasons. But what they didn't expect was that when they heard that Meng Yiren chose Zhang Tianyu, the expressions of the Shrek people suddenly became strange. The snake woman frowned. What? Another problem? Xiao Wuji coughed. There is no problem, but I want to confirm. Do you really want to choose him as your opponent? As long as he is not an auxiliary soul master and can fight, it's fine. Meng Yiren said. Well, Tianyu, you go ahead, hold back, and be gentle. Xiao Wuji said. Okay, teacher. Zhang Tianyu walked in front of everyone and stood still, looking at Meng Yiren and Chao Xiangxiang with a sharp gaze. Hint, activate the task, Golden Spear cannot fight Water Slender Waist. Task requirements, defeat Meng Yiren, and leave a mark on her Water Slender Waist, and also improve her favorability. Task reward, reward points plus 200, a random low-level soul guide. Leave a mark on her waist. Zhang Tianyu was confused. What kind of task requirement is this? Leave a mark. Any mark will do. The system said, since the host likes this Water Slender Waist, it would be unfair to this Water Slender Waist if you don't leave a mark. Zhang Tianyu rolled his eyes. This system, how can it be so considerate of the host? It's really a good system. Thank you for the compliment, host. Meng Yiren, Wuhan Snake Staff, level 30 second ring battle soul master. Meng Yiren has summoned the Wuhan, standing in place, and looking at Zhang Tianyu with beautiful eyes. Zhang Tianyu spread his hands. Zhang Tianyu, Wuhan Huangquan, level 37 third ring battle soul master. What? Meng Yiren and Chao Xiangxiang were both confused. Level 37? Battle soul master? Exclamation mark. What the hell? This kid is so young, and he's already a soul master? How the hell is this possible? Seeing their reactions, everyone at Shrek was a little stunned. Chapter 64. 12 years old? Seeing that Zhang Tianyu is young and good looking, do you think he is a soft persimmon that is easy to control? You are totally wrong. Zhang Tianyu is the most freaking talented person in the entire Shrek Academy. Meng Yiren couldn't help but ask in a lost voice, how old are you this year? 12 years old. Zhang Tianyu answered truthfully. Boom. The grandparents and grandchildren felt as if they were struck by thunder. 12 years old. 12 years old. 12 years old 37th level. These two numbers kept colliding in their minds, impacting their fragile three views again and again. Is there such an extraordinary person in this world? Originally, I thought that this kid looked young, but I didn't expect that he was really young, only 12 years old. After a brief confusion, Chao Xiangxiang's eyes projected a fanatical look. If such a top young genius can be brought into the family and cultivate a relationship with Yiren, and Yiren locks him in the family, then in the future, the family will surely be able to grow bigger and stronger under his leadership and move towards glory. Thinking of this, she even wanted to snatch him away directly, but she soon calmed down. There was also a Rakalandeth next to her. She was definitely not Xiao Wuji's opponent. Looking at the shocked expressions of the grandfather and grandson, Xiao Wuji was a little proud at first, but soon he calmed down. Zhang Tianyu was so powerful because he was powerful himself. His mutant martial spirit was so strong. Even if he didn't join Shrek and went to other academies, he would still be so powerful, and maybe he could even develop better and more powerful. So, there is nothing to be proud of. On the contrary, he had to worry about whether the snake woman would snatch him away. When Xiao Wuji noticed the fleeting enthusiasm in the snake woman's eyes, he became more alert. Okay, since you have chosen your opponent, there is no need to say more. Let's compete quickly. After all, this is a territory of soul beasts. Xiao Wuji said in a deep voice. Meng Yiren thought to himself, what's the point of competing? I'll just pledge my body to you. But surrendering without a fight is not her style. Even if she can't win, she has to fight. Maybe during the fight, there will be some intimate contact, right? If such an outstanding young talent can leave a deep impression on others, maybe a good relationship can be extended in the future. Thinking of this, Meng Yiren waved her snake staff and rushed forward. Zhang Tianyu naturally couldn't be afraid of fighting. He controlled Huang Quan to meet him. It was too easy for him to win Meng Yiren. At this stage, even if he didn't activate the second soul skill, Huang Quan's own wind speed alone was not something that a little naked man like Meng Yiren could resist. He raised his hand and let Huang Quan rush up and hold her neck. He could easily win. But in that case, he couldn't leave any marks on Meng Yiren's small waist. So in the end, the two of them still had to have some intimate contact. This damn system just said to leave marks, but didn't explain clearly what kind of marks to leave. He didn't prepare anything. How could he leave some marks on her in a short time? I can't cough, cough, cough. A 2-foot-long snake blade spewed out from the snake head on the top of Meng Yiren's snake head crutch. Zhang Tianyu knew her attack method very well. With a raised hand, Huang Quan easily blocked the snake blade. Seeing that her only attacking soul skill was easily blocked, Meng Yiren was discouraged. The second soul skill, the snake body, is not an attacking one, which means that she no longer has the ability to fight with Zhang Tianyu. But even so, she can't give up easily. Her snake body is very suitable for close combat, so she just rushed up and fought with Zhang Tianyu. Her idea and approach hit Zhang Tianyu's heart. Zhang Tianyu was struggling to leave mark on her waist, so she took the initiative to come to him to stick it. Good opportunity. Zhang Tianyu simply held Huang Quan and struggled with her. This is a bit strange. Xiao Wu frowned uncomfortably. Yeah, did Tianyu look like this chick? How can he play for so long? Mahanjan, who had a low emotional quotient, played steadily. Friend is his teacher. It hurts him really, but he is really stingy. The second fear is Zhang Tianyu. Zhang Tianyu's meal has left him a deep psychological shadow. He is afraid of Zhang Tianyu, so he is afraid of Xiao. The lack of root tendons and low emotional quotient, so Xiao Wu scolded him and stopped watching him anymore. Moreover, the two of them fought in close combat, always touching each other's body from time to time. Could it be that Zhang Tianyu wanted to take advantage? Just when everyone was thinking this, the winner had already been decided. Zhang Tianyu raised his hand and grabbed Meng Yiren's snake staff. At the same time, Huang Quan also stopped at Meng Yiren's water snake waist. The blade had touched her fair and smooth skin and left a shallow wound. I lost. Meng Yiren admitted defeat very readily. Sorry, I didn't stop. Zhang Tianyu took back Huang Quan and said apologetically. Meng Yiren looked down at the shallow scar on her waist and smiled. You have stopped it. Why are you apologizing? If it were me, the wound would definitely be deeper. Zhang Tianyu nodded and smiled shyly. Looking at Zhang Tianyu's shy expression, Meng Yiren was so happy. Just smiled at him. He was shy. Such a shy innocent little handsome boy. If I could take him in and bring him back to the family, it would be great. But Meng Yiren didn't show anything, just said, since you lost, then you have to accept the defeat. The snake belongs to you. Thank you. Zhang Tianyu said. What are you thanking me for? You beat me, you deserve it. Meng Yiren then asked, are you from Shrek Academy? Which city is your academy located in? Outside Soto City. Zhang Tianyu answered very honestly. Meng Yiren nodded, with a gleam in her eyes. Okay, I got it. Goodbye. After that, She looked at Zhang Tianyu deeply, and that look seemed to be able to seduce people's souls. This shy little brother, I must get him. Seeing that Meng Yiren was giving her a color, Chao Xiangxiang didn't say much, and turned around, and left with her. Watching them leave, Zhao Wuji didn't care about anything else, and said to Oscar, hurry up, we will protect you. Oscar quickly raised his knife, and sent the phoenix tail coxcomb snake away. However, at this time, no one expected that the mutation would reappear. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 65. Wow. Bald head. Oscar rubbed his hands excitedly, took the dagger from Zhao Wuji, and stabbed the head of the phoenix-tailed cockage eel with force. Unexpectedly, at this moment, something strange happened. A strong flame spurted out from the coxcomb of the phoenix-tailed cockage eel. Zhao Wuji and others subconsciously retreated quickly to avoid it, but Oscar was completely unprepared, and had no time to react. The fire sprayed directly on his head and face. Coincidentally, at this time, ZHU Zhuking also came back after changing clothes. Seeing this scene, a complicated look flashed in her eyes. The fire of the snake was very strange. It seemed very fierce, but in fact, it caused little damage to the human body. At most, it could only feel a little bit of burning. However, the damage to clothes was extremely huge. She was only sprayed for a moment, and even before the flames completely touched her, a large piece of her clothes on her chest was burned off. And now, this ball of fire was sprayed directly on Oscar's front, and Oscar directly took it with his face. So, after the flames disappeared, everyone looked at Oscar's appearance and was stunned. Wow. Bald head. Oscar's hair, which had just grown out, was gone again. And not only the hair, Oscar's shirt was also completely burned off. To be precise, there was still some left, but without the shoulder support, it had all fallen off, so it was almost the same as being burned off. In addition, because of the flames, Oscar's upper body and head had been burned black, and at first glance, it looked like a burnt potato. Oscar stood there like an idiot, with a dull face, staring blankly ahead. Who am I? Where am I? What should I do? What happened just now? These four questions kept circling in Oscar's head. Oscar felt that his mind was very confused, as if it was about to collapse. After being confused, Oscar's heartbeat accelerated again. Fortunately, he was not dead. When the flame sprayed on his face just now, Oscar thought he was dead. His worry was completely unnecessary, because all the tricky props have a bottom line attribute, non-lethal. Just like the props this time, attribute props change fire. After use, the target's attribute can be temporarily forced to be changed to fire attribute. Any attribute can be forced to be changed, and when the target is fatally injured, a powerful flame is released to counterattack the attacker. However, the twisted flame is not lethal, and will not cause harm to the body. It will only cause a lot of damage to hair, clothing, etc. If the target is fatally injured by this prop, the prop effect will be eliminated, and the target will be restored to full health. So why didn't the snake revive with full health after Oscar killed it? Because it was fatally wounded. It had nothing to do with this item. Even if it didn't use this item, under the control of Zhao Wuji, the powerful soul saint, it had no ability to resist, and could only be slaughtered. There is nothing you can't get, if you can't think of it. This is the charm of the prop mall. Oscar, are you okay? Zhao Wuji hurried over to check the situation. Nothing. Oscar said a little dazedly. Zhao Wuji checked, and found that he was indeed fine. He was relieved immediately. It's good that you're okay. Don't be stunned for now. Absorb the soul ring quickly. Teacher Zhao. Oscar looked annoyed. Am I bald again? What's wrong with being bald? Zhao Wuji said. Anyway, your hair grows fast. Absorb the soul ring quickly. Oscar glanced at the people in Bengbu who were laughing, and sat cross-legged in front of the snake corpse with a depressed look, muttering, it's not fast at all, it's only grown this much in several days. While muttering, he was about to start absorbing the soul ring. Then he saw the only person who didn't laugh, Zhang Tianyu, and his heart was suddenly moved. Tianyu is still the best. He won't laugh at me like others do. Xiaogang is the best. However, he didn't know that at this moment Zhang Tianyu was inspired by Xiao Wuji's words and was thinking, hair grows fast? Oh, that's right. Among the Shrek group, Oscar's hair grows very fast. It can be said to be the speed of hair growth of savages. So, hehe, you dislike being bald, right? You think your hair grows too slowly, right? Okay. I have already thought of how to trick you next time. Hint, is there a need for next time? Activate the task, savages are also monsters. Task requirements, harm Oscar and make him suffer. Task rewards, reward points plus 100, 4th soul ring. Although the number of words is small, the rewards are generous. The 4th soul ring is finally coming. At the same time, the rewards for the 2 previous tasks were also settled. Congratulations. Let's learn to meow. Meow 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 meow. Mission completed. Obtained mission rewards. Reward points plus 200. Soul power level plus 1. Congratulations. Golden gun can't fight water snake waste. Mission completed. Obtained mission rewards. Reward points plus 200. A random low level soul guide. Drawing soul guides. Drawing completed. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a low level soul guide. A fidget spinner. Ah. Zhang Tianyu was stunned. Fidget spinner? He quickly opened the inventory to check. Fidget spinner, hidden weapon, small boomerang, can fly back after being thrown, fast speed, low sound, strong lethality. Wow, toys can also be used as hidden weapons? Retracting his thoughts, Zhang Tianyu looked up at Oscar. Nothing else matters. The most important thing now is to complete the task of harming Oscar. Select props, Wangbei hair growth water. Select target, Oscar. Use successfully. At this time, Oscar was concentrating on absorbing the spirit ring. Everyone kept quiet. Xiao Wuji looked around with full vigilance, protecting Oscar. Tang San sat cross-legged on the side, also practicing with his eyes closed. Zhang Tianyu knew that he would definitely reach level 30, because this was the main plot that could not be avoided. Even if he could not reach level now, he would break through when the Titan Giant Ape came later. However, Tang San was not the focus now. Suddenly Mahanjan exclaimed, "What's wrong with Xiao?" This shout startled everyone. Xiao Wuji glared. "Why are you yelling? Don't scare Oscar." He stopped talking halfway, because when he looked at Oscar, he was also confused. Everyone else was also confused. In just a short period of time, Oscar's hair had grown very long. And not only hair, but also the beard on his face had grown very long. And under the shocked eyes of everyone, it was still growing rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Everyone was dumbfounded. I know his hair grows fast, but this is growing too fast. Chapter 66. Make Tang San bald? After the shock, everyone looked at each other. This is a bit outrageous. In just a short while, Oscar has changed from a bald head to long hair, and the length of his hair is almost catching up with Zhu Xiaogang, and the hair growing on his face is getting longer and thicker, and he has become like a monkey. Teacher Xiao, this is not right. Dame Yubei whispered to Xiao Wuji. I know. Xiao Wuji thought to himself, I'm not blind or stupid, how can I not know that this is not right? His hair didn't grow so fast before. Xiao Wuji asked. No, absolutely not. Mahanjan and Dame Yubei said at the same time. In the past, at most he grew a circle of beard in one night. Unlike now, he can grow a circle in 10 minutes. Don't panic first, Xiao Wuji said in a deep voice. Oscar has never had this situation before, but now it has happened. It may be because he absorbed the soul ring of this snake. Wait until he finishes absorbing it before asking him. Don't disturb him now. Everyone nodded. They still understood this truth. Zhang Tianyu had a solemn expression on his face, but he laughed wildly in his heart. Xiao Wuji, you are such a good man. You have come up with a reason for me. That's great. That's right. He became like this because he absorbed the spirit ring of the snake, and Xiao Wuji's words inspired him. Since absorbing spirit rings may accelerate the growth of hair, it may also cause hair loss. Right. It is reasonable to make people's hair grow quickly, so it is also reasonable to make people lose hair. Thinking of this, Zhang Tianyu immediately turned his gaze and looked at Tang San. Hehe. Although Tang San is not very good looking, he is at least a heroic young man. but just because he absorbed a spirit ring, he lost his hair at a young age, and finally became a Mediterranean, or a bald head. Fun. It's fun to think about it. Just do it. Hint, receive the task, one rises while the other falls, reasonable and reasonable. Task requirements, harm Tang San. Host, go ahead and do it. Feel free to use any method you can think of, but it is best not to kill him, and you cannot expose yourself. Task reward, soul level +1, reward points +200. Zhang Tianyu smiled even more happily. After a while, Oscar finally succeeded in absorbing the soul ring, and obtained the third soul skill, flying mushroom sausage. When he opened his eyes, and couldn't wait to show off this new soul skill to everyone, he was shocked to find that something seemed to be blocking his sight. And that's not all. Everyone else looked at him, as if he were a monster, and they all stayed away from him, and didn't dare to get too close, especially the three girls, who looked at him with a chill and disgust. What's wrong with you? Xiao Wuji asked. Oscar, don't you feel something wrong with your body? Oscar was stunned, then said, I don't feel anything wrong. I just absorbed the soul ring, and I feel very comfortable. Dame Yubei took out a mirror, and handed it to him. Look for yourself. Oscar took the mirror in confusion, and looked at it. He was so scared that he screamed, and fell to the ground. Who the hell is this? Who else can it be? It's you. Everyone said in unison. Oscar was completely dumbfounded. At this moment, he was completely a walking human-shaped hairy monster. His hair had grown to the ground, and not only his hair, but the hair on his face, was also very long, and it had also hung to the ground. As he walked, it was constantly being dragged, just like a mop. And even so, his hair was still growing. Oscar was confused. What happened to me? Everyone was silent. Xiao Wuji said, we don't know either. When you were absorbing the soul ring, the hair on your hair and face was growing rapidly. We didn't dare to disturb you. We could only wait for you to finish absorbing it. And then you became like this after absorbing it. Everyone was stunned when they said this. Then they all looked at Oscar's pants at the same time. The next second, the three girls screamed and turned their heads away, not daring to look again. Zhang Tianyu and others also widened their eyes. Oscar also noticed the abnormality and turned around quickly. This prop makes the hair on his body grow rapidly, not just the hair on his hair and face. Therefore, the hair in other places is also growing rapidly. Because of the clothes, the hair all over his body has already made the clothes bulge, especially that unspeakable place. Oscar wanted to die at this moment. Damn it. You can't play like this. I admit that my hair growing fast was my strategy before, because fast hair growth will make women think that I'm healthy, vigorous, and capable, and they will like me, but I didn't want my hair to grow so fast. I was wrong. I will never dare to use hair growth water to make my hair grow so fast again. I was wrong. Don't let these hairs continue to grow so fast. But how could his prayers be useful? The hair growth water that Zhang Tianyu used was not the rubbish he used. Don't you like your hair to grow fast? Then let you grow faster, faster. Let you become the man with the fastest hair growth in the world. Oscar no longer had the face to stay here, and he no longer had the mood to show off his soul skills. I'll go take care of it. After saying this, he fled. He carried a scraper with him, but the hair grew so fast that it was not so easy to deal with it with just a small scraper. Well, let's wait here for a while. Xiao Wuji sighed. After he finishes, we will return to the academy immediately. Teacher Xiao, I'm afraid we can't leave yet. At this moment, Tang San, who was practicing, suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Xiao Wuji while speaking. Why? Xiao Wuji asked. Because I also need a spirit ring. Tang San said. Everyone was stunned, and Xiao Wuji's originally annoyed expression immediately turned into a smile. You broke through to level 30? Not bad. Very good. Everyone also sent congratulations. Although Tang San, as a 12-year-old boy, broke through to level 30, it was amazing, but with Zhang Tianyu, a big monster, it was nothing. Tang San only broke through to level 30, while Zhang Tianyu was almost level 40. Then let's extend this trip to the Stardao Great Forest and find a suitable spirit ring for you. Xiao Wuji was in a good mood and laughed. Zhang Tianyu was smiling on his face and in his heart. You are level 30, so great. I'm level 40, grandson. But it doesn't matter, I'm too lazy to argue with you about this. When you find the right spirit ring, surprises will follow. Chapter 67, 2 tricks in 1. About 20 minutes passed, but Oscar still didn't come back. Xiao Wuji was getting a little impatient. Oscar, what are you doing? Oscar didn't respond. Everyone panicked a little. This is not Soto City, nor the academy. This is the Star Forest with many soul beasts. If Oscar is attacked by some poisonous soul beast, it will be dangerous. Xiao Wuji quickly strode in the direction of Oscar. The others hurried to catch up. After crossing the tall bushes, they found that Oscar was squatting behind the bushes, naked from head to toe. He was desperately shaving the hair that grew on his body like a madman. He shaved very hard, and a lot of skin was scraped and bled, but he seemed to be unaware of it. Several girls immediately covered their eyes and turned away, not wanting to watch anymore. Oscar, what are you doing? Xiao Wuji shouted. Oscar finally came to his senses and turned to look at Xiao Wuji. Teacher Xiao. I don't want to live anymore. Xiao Wuji shouted angrily. What nonsense are you talking about? Oscar broke down. Teacher Xiao, the hair on my body grows too fast. No matter how hard I try to shave it, it's just not clean. I don't want to live anymore. Xiao Wuji frowned and opened his mouth to curse, but swallowed the words back and said, don't say such discouraging words here, isn't it? Just that the hair grows too fast? Go back and ask the dean to think of a solution. It's not a big deal. Others also followed suit. That's right. It's not a big deal. You are so young, and you have reached level 30, and you have obtained a 1000-year spirit ring. The good days are still ahead. You are going to die for such a small thing. Is it that serious? As for the hair problem, the worst that can happen is that you can go back and see if you can get some hair removal medicine, right? Or let other spirit masters think of a solution. That's right. The world is so big. There are all kinds of magical spirit masters. Maybe they have a way to inhibit hair growth. It's just a small matter. Think about it. After being persuaded by everyone, Oscar's mood finally stabilized a little, but he was still very pessimistic. Now the junior girls get annoyed when they see me, let alone them. I get annoyed just looking at them. How can I be in front of the junior girls in the future? Xiao Wuji said, stop talking nonsense. There are many good girls. If you don't want to find a junior girl, you can find someone else. Having said that, while talking, watching Oscar's hair growing wildly, this feeling still makes people feel a little hairy. It grows too fast. It's like being poisoned. When it comes to this, Xiao Wuji's eyes suddenly lit up and said, could you be poisoned? Oscar shook his head. I've eaten several detoxifying sausages, and it's still the same. I'm not poisoned. Xiao Wuji's face darkened, and just as he was about to speak, Tang San said, let me try. Although your detoxifying sausage can detoxify many poisons, there are some powerful poisons. Maybe your sausage is useless. Can you do it? Xiao Wuji asked. This time, because it was Zhang Tianyu and Xiao Wuji who fought during the entrance exam, Xiao Wuji did not see Tang San's poison skills and hidden weapons. Tang San nodded. I have some research on toxins and herbs. Let's give it a try. If it can solve the problem, that's the best. If it can't, don't blame me. Oscar would not give up any hope now, and hurriedly said, okay. Don't blame you. You try it quickly. Let me feel your pulse first. Then Tang San was dumbfounded, because Oscar's hair grew too fast, so there was no way to feel his pulse. Hair has a property that every time a layer is shaved off, the next layer will become harder. So even if Oscar shaved the hair on his wrist, a layer of hard hair would grow in a few seconds, and the longer it grew, the harder it would be. After trying to feel Oscar's pulse a few times, Tang San gave up. It was prickly. It was really prickly. Now the problem is, if you can't feel the pulse, how can you determine if it is poisoned? Tang San could only look for other ways. He began to observe Oscar's pupils and tongue coating, and also cut a small hole in Oscar's skin to observe the blood. In the end, he couldn't determine whether Oscar was poisoned. From your current state, it is possible that you are poisoned, but there is no way to confirm it specifically. Tang San said helplessly. Then what should I do now? Oscar cried. If this problem is not solved, he will never be able to flirt with Ning Rangrang. Not to mention that Ning Rangrang will hate him like this. He himself hates him very much. Tang San thought for a while and said, I have prepared some more universal antidotes here. The detoxification effect should be better than your little sausage. You can try it first. Xiao Wuji asked. It won't be a problem to take antidotes without confirming whether it is poisoned? Tang San replied, the herbs I prepared are all mild in nature. Even if you are not poisoned, it will not hurt your body. That's good. Oscar quickly took it and swallowed it. He is now trying his best. As long as there is a glimmer of hope, he must try it. He was unwilling to give up Ning Rangrang, as this was a great helper who had come to his doorstep. Zhang Tianyu, like everyone else, had a worried but hopeful expression on his face, hoping that Tang San's medicine would be effective. But it was only on the surface. In fact, in his heart, had he. Tang San, oh Tang San, I didn't want to trick you, but since you want to take this opportunity to show off yourself, don't blame me for being rude. The speed of hair growth brought about by this Wangbei hair growth water item is controlled by the host. In other words, Zhang Tianyu can control Oscar's hair growth speed at will. After taking Tang San's medicine, more than 10 seconds later, Oscar's hair growth speed slowed down visibly. Seeing this scene, everyone was excited. Great. It works. It seems that Xiaoao is indeed a little poisoned. But why is he poisoned? Isn't the phoenix-tailed coxcomb snake non-toxic? Besides, Oscar didn't get bit. Could it be that the spirit ring is poisonous? Impossible. It's hard to say. After all, this is a mutant spirit beast. That's true. The most important thing is that Tang San's antidote works. That's great. Oscar hugged Tang San. Asan, you are my great benefactor. Thank you so much. A hint of pride flashed in the depths of Tang San's eyes, but on the surface he still had a simple and honest expression. It's good that you're okay. We are all brothers and comrades. No need to be so polite. Next, my prestige among my classmates will also increase a lot. Xiaogang, I won't leave you behind too much. As a result, when Tang San had this thought, Mahanjan suddenly exclaimed, no, Xiaoao, your hair grows faster. Everyone was shocked and looked over. Sure enough, Oscar's hair suddenly began to grow violently. It was twice as fast as before the detoxification, or even faster. In the blink of an eye, it seemed as if he had turned into a hairy monster. Ah, what's going on? Oscar was dumbfounded. No, I don't want to become like this. Tang San, what's going on? What's going on? Everyone immediately turned their eyes to Tang San. Yeah, what's going on? Why is it growing faster now than before? Tang San was confused. How would I know? Chapter 68, the one who ties the bell. Seeing Oscar's horrible hair growth speed and everyone's questions, Tang San was completely confused. I don't know! Exclamation mark. How do I know why this happened? This is an antidote, not a hair growth medicine. I don't know either. Tang San was confused, and his face was full of pain. The medicine I prepared only has the function of detoxification, and no other effects. Then why is it growing faster now than before? Oscar wailed. Xiao Wuji looked at Tang San, was silent for a while and said, don't give this medicine to others casually in the future. Okay, teacher Xiao, I got it. Tang San said this, but he was actually very aggrieved. What the hell did I do? I had good intentions. Why did you blame me in the end? This is not my fault. Zhang Tianyu didn't say anything. There was no expression on his face, but he was laughing wildly in his heart. This is indeed not your fault, but others don't think so. Hehe. Tang San, just bear with it. Although, Oscar's hair is growing faster than before, so he still has to find a way to solve it. Otherwise, he won't be able to leave here. He will be dragged down by his hair after taking 2 steps, and he might trip. If he encounters a powerful soul beast, he won't be able to run away. For a while, everyone had no idea and could only stand there. Xiao Wuji thought about it and changed the topic temporarily and asked, I haven't asked you what your third soul ring soul skill is yet? Oscar didn't have the slightest intention of showing off at this time, and he didn't feel like keeping it a secret. Flying. Everyone was stunned. Flying? Oscar nodded weakly. Make a flying sausage. After eating it, you can fly at the speed of a phoenix-tailed cockroach for 1 minute. I named it Flying Mushroom Sausage. Everyone was stunned. The speed of the phoenix-tailed cockroach is very fast. Because of its non-toxic attribute, the other attributes of the phoenix-tailed cockroach are very good, such as attack, bite force, speed, and body toughness. If you fly at the speed of a phoenix-tailed cockroach for 1 minute, you can fly at least 2 or 3 kilometers, right? Xiao Wuji nodded with some relief and said, finally, my energy was not wasted in vain. Xiao, your third spirit ring is very good. With your current spirit power, how many of these mushroom sausages can you make? Oscar cried. Not bad. I don't think it's good at all. Maybe the reason why my hair grows so fast is because of this spirit ring. Damu Bei said, you can't say that. If the problem of growth speed can be solved, then this is a very good spirit ring. Oscar's eyes were filled with tears. But what if it can't be solved? Not to mention these schoolmates, even the girls outside. No one can accept a hairy monster. Not to mention them, I can't accept it myself. Everyone was silent. Oscar sighed. Forget it, there's no point saying this now. The dean is very powerful and should be able to find a way to help me solve it. After a pause, he continued, this mushroom sausage consumes much more spirit power than the first 2 sausages. With my current spirit power, I can only make 10 at a time. After that, the spirit power will be exhausted, and it needs to be fully restored before it can be made again. Xiao Wuji nodded and said, 10 are enough. As your soul power increases, this number will continue to increase. From now on, your sausages can be classified as top quality food related auxiliary martial arts. Don't worry, after we return, we will do our best to help you solve this problem. That's right, cheer up now. Mahanjan patted Oscar on the shoulder. Oscar nodded and forced himself to be energetic. But what should I do now? I can't leave at all. How about this? Zhang Tianyu said, I have a flying sword that can carry people. If it doesn't work later, I will send you out first, to the town before. You can stay there now, and we will come to find you after we get the soul ring for Aten. What do you think? Xiao Wuji nodded. This method is okay, but aren't your 2 levels a little low? Isn't it a little dangerous? Zhang Tianyu thought for a while and said, my flying sword can fly up to a maximum altitude of several hundred meters. At that altitude, ordinary soul beasts can't attack us. As for flying soul beasts, as long as their levels are not high, their speed is not as fast as mine. Xiao Wuji thought for a while, nodded and said, this is the outskirts of the forest. There are almost no high-level flying soul beasts. In this case, it should not be a big problem, but I think we still can't be careless. Otherwise you can take Mu Bei with you. Damu Bei nodded. As the boss, how could he retreat in such a situation? Zhang Tianyu looked up at the time. It was already around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. After calculating the time, he knew that the Titan Ape would not arrive until at least the evening. With Huang Quan's speed, he could definitely make it back from here to that town before the Titan Ape arrived. But the problem was that the main storyline had undergone a lot of changes. Zhang Tianyu was not afraid of anything else but the Titan Ape showing up early. If that happened, Xiao Wu would be taken away, and he would not be there. It was very likely that Tang San would take advantage of the situation. So he thought for a while and said, how about this? It's getting late now. If I go out now, I'm afraid it will be night when I come back. In that case, it will be difficult to find you in the forest. It's better to spend the night first, and I'll send Xiao out tomorrow morning. Xiao Wuji nodded. That's good. The forest will be more dangerous at night. Zhang Tianyu summoned Huang Quan and looked at Oscar. Then now, Xiao, since it's inconvenient for you to walk, then stay on the flying sword with me first. Okay, thank you, Tianyu. Oscar was touched. Fortunately, there was Zhang Tianyu, otherwise he would really become a big burden. If he became a burden, others would not say anything, but they would definitely dislike him more in their hearts. However, at this time, something that no one expected happened. After Oscar approached Huang Quan, the crazy growth rate of his hair suddenly stagnated. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. Tang San was stunned, and his heart was happy. Could it be that my antidote is only starting to work now? Look, it works now. Who dares to say that my medicine is not good? Exclamation mark. However, when Oscar tried to move away from Huangqun, his hair growth became fast again. Tang San, everyone. What's going on? Xiaogang, does your martial spirit have an inhibitory effect on my hair growth? Zhang Tianyu was also confused. I don't know. At this time, Zhao Wuji slapped his thigh. By the way, Xiaoyang's martial spirit has a strong breath of death. Could it be that this breath of death restrains the growth energy of your body hair? After all, life and death, growth and death, are relative. As soon as this was said, everyone nodded. It makes sense. Chapter 69. Turning Tang San into a waste. Come on. Xiaogang, try it. Let your martial spirit release a stronger aura, and see if it works. Zhao Wuji said. That's right. Try it. Oscar couldn't wait to say, if it really works, it would be great. Zhang Tianyu nodded, raised his right hand, and the palm of his hand was filled with black air. In an instant, Huangqun burst out with a more dense black air. After this black air contaminated Oscar's body, Oscar's original crazy hair growth speed slowed down in an instant. After a few seconds, it stopped completely. It works. Oscar burst into an exclamation. It works. It really works. Ha 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 ha. He immediately picked up the scraper and quickly shaved off the excess hair, revealing the original skin. Sure enough, after shaving this time, no new hair grew out. Seeing that his appearance has finally returned to its peak, Oscar was so moved that tears streamed down his face. He suddenly hugged Zhang Tianyu. Tianyu. From now on, you are my brother. You are my real brother. No. You are my reborn parent. No, 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 Zhang Tianyu said quickly. Not really, not really, so much. Very much. Oscar was so excited that he was incoherent. You saved my life. Saved my life. With such a hairy body, let alone Ning Rangrong, I'm afraid that he will not be able to get even ordinary women in the future. Although the problem of this hairy body is not completely solved now, at least there is hope and a direction. Just find something with extinction energy or death energy and carry it with you. You can inhibit or even stop the growth of hair. But this method is obviously not a long-term solution, Zhao Wuji said. After all, Xiaoyang's martial soul carries the energy of death. For us living people, if we are exposed to this energy for a long time, it will definitely be harmful to our bodies. Oscar was in a good mood at this time and said, I won't be exposed to this energy all the time. I will only get a little when I need to go out and meet people. It's a pity that this kind of soul guide with energy of extinction must be very rare. Zhang Tianyu thought to himself, well, look for a soul guide? Since you like it, then I will satisfy you. The death energy from Huangqun can be injected into the body of living things. Although I haven't tried it on humans, it should work. Upon hearing this, Oscar's eyes widened with excitement. What are you waiting for? Try it quickly. If it works, there is no need for any soul guide. Zhang Tianyu was shocked. I haven't finished talking yet. Damn, you are really not afraid of death. This is death energy. You have to think carefully. If it is really injected into your body, it may affect your health and even your lifespan. Yes, this method is too dangerous. Let's forget it. Zhao Wuji and others also advised. Oscar was already determined. You have seen my hairy appearance. If I can only be like that for the rest of my life, I might as well die. So Xiaogang, just come and try it. Even if there is a problem, I won't blame you. Zhao Wuji wanted to persuade him again, but seeing his appearance, he stopped talking decisively. Having not experienced Oscar's pain, he is not qualified to say that it is for his own good. According to the age of Douluo continent, Oscar is now an adult and can be responsible for his own behavior. Zhang Tianyu thought about it and refused righteously. No, Zhao, maybe you think you'd rather die than do that, but I can't do something that would hurt my brother so easily. So how about this? After helping Asen get the spirit ring, we'll go back to the academy and let the dean and teacher Zhao think of a solution. If there is a way, that's the best. If there is really no other way, I'll use this trick on you when you have to go out for something. It's not that I don't want to help you, but as a brother, I can't hurt you so easily. Even if I have to use it, I have to wait until I have no choice but to use it. Oscar was moved. You're the best. Tianyu. Okay, let's do as you say. Dame Yubei, Mahanjan and Tang San also looked at Zhang Tianyu with emotion. They were so lucky to have such a brother. I wonder what they would think if they knew that you did all this. The system grinned. It's a pity that they won't know, Zhang Tianyu thought. This time, I'm doing it much more secretly than in the last life. As long as I don't act recklessly, and with your aura to cover it up, even gods won't find out that I'm the manipulator behind the scenes. He. In his last life, he was so reckless and careless that in the end, not to mention the gods, even the little guys like Yu Xiaogang and Flanders suspected him. So in this life, he has to be more careful and be more covered. Well, then Oscar, you stay with Xiaoyu for now. Next, we'll go find a suitable soul beast for Tang San. The sooner the better. Everyone nodded. Oscar put on his clothes and walked out of the bushes. The three girls looked back and asked, is the problem solved? Oscar said with a pained face, I guess so. Then, he briefly explained the situation. When they heard that Tang San's herbs were useless and had the opposite effect, Zhang Tianyu had to solve the problem in the end. The three girls immediately turned their beautiful eyes and cast rippling eyes towards Zhang Tianyu. Look. The most reliable man in Shrek Academy is always Zhang Tianyu. No one else can be trusted. Zhang Tianyu gave full play to the style of central air conditioning and said with a wry smile, don't praise me. Huangquan's energy is death energy after all. It is definitely not a good thing to have too much contact with it, so we have to find other solutions. Alas, I'm worried that it will have some bad effects on Xiao's body. The three girls were moved. Look, what a good person. He has helped others so much, but he is still worried about others. This is the model of a good man. If someone is familiar with the routines of the warm scum on Earth, they will definitely think that Zhang Tianyu is particularly disgusting. But how could this group of people have seen that kind of routine? The group wandered all the way until night, but still did not find a suitable soul beast. This was within Zhang Tianyu's expectations. How to trigger the plot of the Titan Giant Ape if we don't wait until night. As long as the Titan Giant Ape appears and takes Xiaowu away, Zhang Tianyu will go to find Xiaowu alone, letting Tang San stay with everyone. Then Tang San will not encounter the human-faced demon spider and will not get the 8 spider soul bone. Without the 8 spider soul bone, Tang San is a waste, and this is just the beginning. In the future, Zhang Tianyu will find a way to prevent Tang San from getting all the good things. Of course, it would be best to snatch those good things. Chapter 70. The giant ape is here. Can the demonic spider be far away? Night. Tang San, are you anxious? Zhao Wuji looked at Tang San and asked. Tang San shook his head and said, finding soul beasts is a matter of luck. There's no point in being anxious, Teacher Zhao. Don't worry, I have patience. Zhao Wuji sighed lightly. Now the Stardao Great Forest has also begun to become desolate. Many years ago, I still remember how bustling it was here. At that time, even on the outskirts of the forest, 1,000-year-old soul beasts could be seen everywhere. But now there are far fewer soul beasts. I don't know if they all live inside the forest or for other reasons. Tang San said, whatever the reason, it is caused by us. Soul beasts are ferocious, but we humans are more ferocious than them, aren't we? Zhao Wuji was stunned for a moment. What do you mean? Tang San said, teacher once said that, although the number of soul masters is small, it only takes a few decades for a soul master to grow from the beginning of cultivation to become a strong man. And in these decades, a powerful soul master needs at least 6 soul rings, that is to say, to hunt more than 6 soul beasts. Especially for powerful soul beasts, one less is one less. After many years, I'm afraid it will be difficult to see soul beasts that are more than 1,000 years old. Zhao Wuji said thoughtfully, Master is right. But who among the soul masters would think about this problem? Who doesn't want to make himself stronger? Even if the spirit hall imposes restrictions, it will probably be useless. That's right, these are simply not something we can control, Zhang Tianyu said. Besides, humans and soul beasts are inherently opposites, and the killing between humans and beasts is the law of the jungle. There has never been a distinction between good and evil, only the difference between strong and weak. Zhang Tianyu was not afraid of Zhao Wu hearing this, because he was telling the truth. A weak soul master is just food in front of a powerful soul beast, and a weak soul beast is just a training resource in front of a powerful soul master. In any world, it is the law of the jungle. Xiao Wuji agreed. Xiaogang is right. Let's do this for today. If we can't find a suitable soul beast for you tomorrow morning, then we will go to the inner area to look for it in the afternoon. Tang San nodded and was about to speak when Zhang Xiaogang stood up suddenly. Tang San and Xiao Wuji were stunned for a few seconds after seeing him stand up suddenly without any signs. Then Xiao Wuji finally felt the powerful momentum and stood up immediately. Then, Xiao Wuji roared, "Everyone leave the tent. Quick." The deep voice was transmitted into the tent, and everyone quickly got out of the tent. "Teacher Xiao, what's wrong?" Damu Bei came to Xiao Wuji in a flash and asked in confusion. Xiao Wuji did not answer his question. "Everyone get behind me. If anything happens later, don't worry about me. Leave here immediately. Let's get out of the Stardao Great Forest first." Mu Bei, Xiaogang, when I'm not around, the responsibility of protecting everyone will be handed over to you two. Everyone was puzzled, and then everyone found that Zhang Xiaonang's current state was similar to Xiao Wuji. Although Huangquan was still quietly floating in front of him, the amount of Black Death energy released was unprecedentedly terrifying and huge. He stood proudly in place like a sword drawn from its sheath, looking ahead. Among all the people, only Xiao Wu knew what happened, because she had sensed Erming's arrival. She looked at Zhang Xiaogang with a worried look on her face, and then looked in the direction of Erming. She was now very worried that Zhang Xiaogang would fight with Erming. She knew that Zhang Xiaogang was definitely not Erming's opponent. In fact, Zhang Xiaogang was indeed no match for the Titan Ape. Huangquan could break the Titan Ape's defense. Although he couldn't kill it instantly with a sword that cut its neck, he could definitely cause damage to it and inject the Black Death energy through the wound so that it would be slowly worn down by the influence of the death energy. However, if they really fought like that, Zhang Xiaogang would definitely die first. Because Zhang Xiaonang's current defense could not withstand the attack of the Titan Ape. So to put it bluntly, it's actually very simple and easy to understand. Theoretically, Zhang Xiaogang can now kill everyone on Douluo continent, including top powerhouses like Bibidang or the Big Three, because the Huangquan sword is very powerful, even if its attack power increases with Zhang Xiaonang's level, even if Zhang Xiaonang's current level is not high, but it is enough to break through the defenses of those powerhouses and slowly grind them to death through the Black Death aura. However, the key problem is that Zhang Xiaogang can't withstand the attacks of those powerhouses. If he is a little careless, those powerhouses can kill him in seconds. So, you still have to show weakness when you should show weakness, and you still have to obey when you should be soft. Under the gaze of Zhang Xiaogang and Xiao Wuji and the confused eyes of others, the towering tree in front of them was slowly separated by two huge hands, and a huge figure walked out of there silently. Seeing this big guy, everyone's breathing seemed to stop. Everyone finally understood what Xiao Wuji was worried about. It was like a mountain, with dark hair all over its body shining faintly under the faint light of the stars and the moon. Although it was on all fours, its shoulder height was definitely more than 7 meters. If it stood upright, it would probably be more than 15 meters high. Titan Giant Ape. Zhang Xiaogang looked at this big guy, and a sense of familiarity surged in his heart. "We meet again, old friend. It's a pity that I couldn't get your spirit ring in the last life. But in this life, I'm afraid I can't get it in this life, because my spirit rings have been reserved. But your spirit ring can be given to Xiao Wu, but not to Tang San. All the good things that belong to Tang San, except for the broken belt that Yu Xiaogang gave him at the beginning, which I didn't like. All the other good things are mine. It doesn't matter if it's not mine, I will never give it to you anyway. It's the king of the forest, the Titan Giant Ape." Even the always calm Tang San's voice changed a little at this time. "Respected king of the forest, we have no intention of offending you. If this is your territory, we are willing to withdraw immediately," Xiao Wuji said in a deep voice. The Titan Ape ignored them and took a big step forward. It was looking for Xiao Wu. At this moment, Xiao Wu was very upset. "You stinky brother, why did you come out to find me? What if we fight later? What if my Xiaogang is hurt?" Before this thought was finished, Xiao Wuji had completed the martial spirit possession, and the 7 spirit rings also floated up. It's over. Xiao Wu sighed in her heart. This time there must be a fight. Let's fight. Xianyu is so powerful, he will definitely not be easily hurt. With this thought, she and Zhu Zuking jumped up and rushed up. Chapter 71 Actors. Shrek is a whole. At this time, no one will retreat. Everyone has used all their strength, except Zhang Xianyu. He knows that the Titan Ape is only here to find Xiao Wu, and does not really want to kill these people. So if he uses his full strength and lets Huang Quan really give Titan a hard blow, then the Titan Ape will probably really want to kill these people. Even so, with the help of Ning Rongrong, the combined attack power of the crowd also shocked the Titan Giant Ape a little. In one blow, except for Zhang Xianyu and Ning Rongrong Oscar, the 2 auxiliary soul masters, all the other people who participated in the attack were all blown away by the Titan Giant Ape. Xiao Wuji suffered the most. He was the strongest and caused the most damage to the Titan Giant Ape. So according to the logic of one force will lead to an equal reaction force, he was also the worst and was blown away the farthest, and he vomited blood directly. The result of the battle was that the Titan Giant Ape also underestimated the power of the crowd. The whole body was thrown back and burst into a shocking roar. Damn, these little humans, although they don't look good, they are still very strong. Especially the one who stepped on the flying sword. What the hell is that sword under his feet? Why did I, the king of the forest, feel danger and terror? There is actually someone who makes me feel fear? Exclamation mark. This kid is not simple. Very unhappy. Wait a minute, that's Xiao Wu. Oh, great. We found Xiao Wu. Take Xiao Wu away. Don't play with these humans anymore. Thinking of this, the Titan Ape suddenly stretched out its giant hand and grabbed Xiao Wu in midair. Zhang Xianyu was shocked when he saw this and shouted, Xiao Wu. Black light flashed, but even though Huang Quan's speed was amazing, he lost to the Titan Ape's giant hand at this moment. There was no way. He had to lose. The main storyline had to be triggered. Even if Huang Quan burst out with his true speed and forcibly intercepted Xiao Wu at this time, there would be other triggering methods later, forcing the Titan Ape to take Xiao Wu away, and someone might get hurt at that time. It would be bad if Zhu Zuking and Ning Rongrong were hurt. You can't beat up your brother-in-law just because of another wife, right? Besides, the brother-in-law hasn't acknowledged his relatives yet, so just trigger it according to the original storyline. Xiao Wu was caught by the Titan Ape without any damage. Seeing this, the others also burst into exclamations. Xiao Wu. Xiao Wuji didn't care about his own injuries and directly used the 7th soul skill, the spirit body. The energy of the powerful King Kong bear was fully activated. Xiao Wuji's height suddenly soared to 5 meters away. His body was extremely strong and a layer of golden hair grew on his body. He was completely a big man bear. The others also attacked the Titan Ape again. Tang San also threw a hidden weapon at the Titan Ape's eyes. However, the Titan Ape roared casually and shook all these people back. For Tang San's hidden weapon, the Titan Ape just closed his eyes and easily blocked it. At the same time, he also waved his arms and fought with Xiao Wuji, who rushed over. Xiao Wuji screamed again and was shocked to spit blood. The spirit body was almost shattered. Too strong. He really deserves the title of the king of the forest. He is so strong, so powerful that it is terrifying. Even Xiao Wuji's desperate trick, with the help of Ning Rongrong, can't even break the opponent's defense. The Titan Ape is simply invincible. At the moment, when everyone is desperate, only the straight figure like a sword out of its sheath is still standing proudly in the air. It's Zhang Xianyu. The roar of the Titan Ape did not shock him back, and what shocked everyone was that at this moment, there were 4 soul rings floating on his body. That's right, after completing the task of harming Oscar, he got the 4th soul ring and successfully obtained the 4th soul skill, in the name of the sword. This is his favorite soul skill in his previous life. Looking at the 4 soul rings on his body, exclamation mark. Everyone is stunned. Xiao Wu is completely stunned. What? Exclamation mark. Could it be that Zhang Xianyu has already reached the soul sect realm? Exclamation mark. When did this happen? Exclamation mark. Oh my god. The first 12-year-old soul sect in history! Exclamation mark. In the eyes of shock, bewilderment, and worship, Zhang Tianyu slowly raised his hand, his eyes like a sharp sword blade piercing the titan ape, and slowly said, "Fourth soul skill, in the name of the sword." Clang! A dragon roared. 7 black long swords that looked exactly like Huangquan, but slightly illusory, appeared around Zhang Tianyu's body, and kept spinning around him. The huge momentum was like a volcanic eruption at this moment. The thick black air seemed to respond to Zhang Tianyu's restless mood, condensing into a constantly rotating tornado in the air. Zhang Tianyu, who was in the center of the eye of the storm, and protected by the rotating black air, was like a sword-wielding god of death at this moment. In the name of the sword, one can amplify some of his own attributes, but the amplification is not much, it is just a small amplification. Therefore, the most important effect of this soul skill is not the amplification attribute, but the 7 illusion swords summoned. Each of these illusion swords has 70% of Huangquan's attributes, and can also be controlled remotely through the remote control ability of second soul skill infinite flying sword. Most importantly, after launching first soul skill hell flying flame, and third soul skill chasing life sword key, these 7 illusion swords can also summon fireballs and sword key with tracking capabilities when swinging, and the attack power of fireballs and sword key is not restricted by the 70% attribute, but is still the original 100%. Abnormal, very abnormal. Zhang Tianyu raised his hand and pointed, and the 7 illusory swords whistled towards the Titan giant ape. The Titan giant ape's claws were a little numb. As early as in the previous fight, he found that Huangquan was difficult to deal with. Now, there are 7 more swords. Although the momentum was not as strong as the first one, it was exactly the same aura, that is to say, the attack effect was exactly the same. How could this be? Thinking of this, the Titan ape roared, intending to let the other Shrek people eat Zhang Tianyu's meal on the spot. Xiaowu felt its surging anger, was shocked, and finally couldn't help but said, "No." The Titan ape looked down at her, immediately withdrew, and roared at Zhang Tianyu, releasing a black light circle, which pushed Zhang Tianyu and the 7 flying swords back. Zhang Tianyu retreated, and sang in his heart, "I should cooperate with your performance." Seeing that Zhang Tianyu and the flying swords were all pushed back, the Titan ape no longer entangled, and ran away with Xiaowu. Xiaowu! Zhang Tianyu yelled with a heart-wrenching sound, stabilized his body, and set up the flying sword to chase after him. Everyone looked at each other, their minds were in a mess. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 72, The Human-Faced Demon Spider and the 8 Spider Soul Bones Are All Mine. The Titan ape was very fast. Huangquan was even faster than it, but could it be faster than it at this time? Obviously not. If it was faster, how could Xiaowu break through to level 30 and evolve her spirit ring? If it was faster than it, how could Zhang Tianyu get rid of the human-faced demon spider before Tang San? So after chasing it out, Zhang Tianyu watched the huge figure of the Titan ape disappear in the distance, and immediately turned around and rushed towards Menyeran. The live map could not determine the location of the human-faced demon spider, but it could determine the location of Menyeran. So at this time, Menyeran was very close to the human-faced demon spider, and the 3 of them were tracking the human-faced demon spider. As long as they found them, they could find the human-faced demon spider. Soon, Zhang Tianyu came near the 3 of them, and with the system to help cover up the aura, not to mention them, the peerless dragon snake, even the title Douluo could not sense Zhang Tianyu's existence. If they are found, then the man-faced demon spider will not be far away. When the distance is close, the system can help Zhang Tianyu locate the position of the man-faced demon spider. Of course, this dog system will not help for free, so Zhang Tianyu spent 500 reward points to let the system help locate it, just like using 500 reward points to exchange for an external soul bone. A black light flashed, and the man-faced demon spider burst into a scream and fell to the ground in humiliation and hatred. A glittering soul bone appeared on its body. Zhang Tianyu was quick to put it into the inventory. Man-faced demon spider soul bone, external type, can grow and evolve. Additional attributes: strengthen all states by 50%, devour the opponent's soul power, and replenish 100% of its own soul power consumption, can absorb drugs, can absorb any power, any toxins, unlimited, speed up, increase movement speed by 50%, physical ability, enhance jumping power and climbing ability. The end is very sharp and has barbs, with extremely strong attack ability, climbing rocks like walking on flat ground, with highly toxic. What is external attachment? The so-called external attachment is actually similar to a soul guide. It does not need to be stretched on the body or absorbed into the body. It can be used as long as it is placed on the body. It can be taken off when not in use. Of course, only Zhang Tianyu is allowed to use it. Because of the existence of the system, all soul bones are equivalent to equipment in the equipment column for Zhang Tianyu. You can wear them when you want to use them. If you don't want to use them or have a better one, you can take it off. So it's good to have a system. Not bad, not bad. The attributes of this soul bone are not bad. Zhang Tianyu was very satisfied. No wonder Tang San can always use this thing to turn defeat into victory, but now it belongs to me. As for the main plot of Tang San's external soul bone, it cannot be triggered because of the death of the human-faced demon spider and the demon spider soul bone being obtained by Zhang Tianyu. This is a way to trigger the main plot. After the person or soul beast related to this main plot dies, the triggering of this plot will be cancelled or changed. Just like now, the key soul beast, the man-faced demon spider, was not killed by Tang San, but by Zhang Tianyu, so the plot Tang San obtains the 8 spider lance will not be triggered, and it will be changed to the plot of Tang San hunting other soul beasts to obtain soul rings. But the main plot of Xiao Wu was taken away by the Titan giant ape just now. Because Zhang Tianyu cannot kill Xiao Wu or the Titan giant ape, he cannot prevent it from being triggered. Hey, as long as you understand the rules, everything can be controlled. It's fun. Hehe. Don't laugh, host. Someone is coming. Zhang Tianyu immediately put away his sly smile and looked in the direction of the sound. Then, Meng Yiren and the peerless dragon snake came out. It's you. Meng Yiren saw Zhang Tianyu, and his eyes lit up with surprise. Meeting this handsome boy twice in a row, this is fate. When the snake woman Xiaogang saw Zhang Tianyu, she smiled like an auntie and whispered something in the ear of the dragon man Mengshu. Mengshu nodded repeatedly and looked at Zhang Tianyu without blinking. But the next second, when they found the dead human-faced demon spider on the ground with its head facing the sky, their expressions froze on their faces. Ah, the new soul beast I just hunted. It's gone just like that. You. Meng Yiren rushed up and looked at the human-faced demon spider. That's right, it's dead. Dead as hell. Zhang Tianyu looked at their reactions and asked with a confused look on his face. Is this also the soul beast you are hunting? Is it also injured by you just now? Meng Yiren asked back. What else? If you don't believe me, look at its belly. There are 3 scars. My grandfather just beat it. Zhang Tianyu took a look and saw that there were indeed scars. Xiaogang said, child, although you are a soul master, you cannot deal with this thousands-year-old human-faced demon spider by yourself if we have not injured you first. Oh, I'm so sorry, Zhang Tianyu said. I didn't know about this, but the human-faced demon spider rushed over to kill me, and I couldn't just sit there and wait to die. The 3 of them looked at each other, and Mengshu said, well, you are right. When encountering this situation, we must fight back. However, we have worked hard for days, and finally got 2 soul beasts suitable for my granddaughter. Now they are all ruined by you. Don't you think this is a bit too much? Just say it, if you have something to say, Zhang Tianyu asked. Mengshu looked at him. Your name is Zhang Tianyu, right? A 12-year-old soul master. You are an amazing young talent. In this way, if you join our family, I will forgive the matter of these 2 soul beasts, and will unconditionally support you in cultivation in the future. How about it? Zhang Tianyu looked determined. As long as the senior is willing to do me a favor, I will definitely join. From now on, I will fight to the death. and never go west if you tell me to go east. The three of them looked at each other, and their joy was immediately beyond words. Just do a favor, to absorb such a good seedling into the family? Great. Just tell me, what favor? Xiaogang said quickly. A very powerful soul beast has kidnapped a friend of mine. I hope you two seniors can help me rescue her. The peerless dragon snake was relieved immediately, thinking it was a big favor. Just help you deal with a soul beast. So simple. Meng Shu asked. Yes. It seems that your teacher Zhao Wuji can't deal with the soul beast. Don't worry, even if he can't deal with it, we may not be able to deal with it. Besides, we have the martial soul fusion technique. Just tell me, what soul beast, I will help you. Meng Shu patted his chest. It's a titan ape. Cough cough cough. Meng Shu coughed violently. Damn, titan ape? Exclamation mark. Are you trying to kill me? Who doesn't know that there is only one titan ape in the Xingdao Great Forest, the forest overlord? No wonder Zhao Wuji can't deal with it. We can't deal with it either. Chapter 73 Woman. You are playing with fire. Seeing the two of them looking embarrassed, no, looking terrified, Zhang Tianyu frowned and asked, two seniors, can you do me this favor? As long as you can help me find my friends, I will definitely join your family, and I can also worship you two seniors as my godfather and godmother. The system is in Bangbu, good guy, worship as godfather, and then kill him for glory, right? The two of Peerless Dragon and Snake looked at each other again, and Dragon Lord Meng Shu sighed and said, it's not that we don't help, but this titan giant ape is really hard to fight against. Zhang Tianyu was stunned and asked in surprise, no way, no way. Could it be that with the abilities of the two seniors and the strength of the Peerless Dragon and Snake, you can't even deal with a small titan giant ape? Peerless Dragon and Snake almost cursed in anger, and a small titan giant ape? Do you know what level that titan ape is? It's still small. Meng Shu said without any hesitation. The titan ape is an ancient alien species with extremely strong strength. Not to mention us, even the title Douluo dare not say that they can defeat him. And as far as I know, there is only one titan ape in this Xingdao Great Forest, and its cultivation is not just as simple as 10,000 years. It has been cultivated for at least more than 60,000 years, and is the real overlord of the forest. In addition to it, the titan ape has an even more terrifying brother. Unless all the title Douluo of the two empires gather here, who dares to hunt them? Then, without waiting for Zhang Tianyu to speak, Xiaogang quickly said, old man, I think we should leave here quickly. I didn't expect the titan ape to appear on the periphery. This is not a good sign. Meng Shu nodded and looked at the human-faced demon spider on the side. This demon spider died in your hands. Even if you don't want its spirit ring, my family still can't absorb it. So for today's matter, I think you'd better give an explanation. Don't try to evade us with words, like if we help you deal with the titan giant ape, you will join us. I have clearly told you that we can't do it. In the original plot, Zhao Wuji led people to the scene and quietly told Meng Shu that Tang San was Tang Heo's son, which solved the incident. But now, Zhang Tianyu has no special background, and he still wants to take down Meng Yiren, so, he looked at the soul guide he had just obtained in the inventory, fidget spinner. Meng Yiren, this girl, also plays with hidden weapons. Giving her this fidget spinner is just what she wants. And although this thing is a low-level soul guide for Zhang Tianyu, it is just a small existence. But in the eyes of Meng Yiren and Longan Shpio, this is a rare offensive soul guide in the world. Anyway, Meng Yiren will be his woman sooner or later, so it makes sense to give his woman something to keep her company. Alas, what you said is very true. If it were me, I would also be depressed. So, Zhang Tianyu took out the fidget spinner from his arms. This is a little compensation from the junior. Please accept it, Miss Yiren. When the Dragon Lord and the Snake Lady saw this thing, their eyes were immediately fixed on it. This beautiful soul guide pattern. This jumping soul power rhythm. This is clearly a soul guide device. Meng Yiren took it with a curious look on her face, and her eyes immediately sparkled. What is this? It's quite beautiful. Because it was given by Zhang Tianyu, she liked it, even if it was not beautiful, not to mention it was so beautiful. The Dragon Lord snatched it away without the demeanor of an elder, which made Meng Yiren very unhappy. "Grandpa, what are you doing? Why are you snatching my things?" The Dragon Lord looked at it carefully, then looked at Zhang Tianyu, and said excitedly with a trembling voice, "Is this a soul guide device? Senior has a good eye." Zhang Tianyu praised. "Or is it an offensive soul guide device?" The snake lady also asked excitedly. Meng Yiren was stunned. "Offensive soul guide? Exclamation mark. Didn't they say that all the offensive soul guides have been lost, and now there are only auxiliary soul guides on the continent? This is an offensive soul guide that my family has passed down from generation to generation," Zhang Tianyu said calmly. "A low-level garbage soul guide that the system gave you can make you so excited. You really haven't seen the world. But seeing how excited they are, host, aren't you afraid that they will suddenly attack and kill you to rob your other treasures?" the system asked. "If I want to run, they can't catch up with me at all." Zhang Tianyu thought to himself, "I gave them this thing just to seduce Meng Yiren. If they dare to make a move, then I will run first, and when I have a chance in the future, I will first and then kill Meng Yiren, and then wipe out their entire family. If people respect me, I respect them. If people harm me, I will wipe out his entire family." Rhyme. Young lady. The system praised. Zhang Tianyu is indeed a smart guy, thinking of everything he can think of. Meng Yiren said blankly, this, such a precious thing. Are you really giving it to me? Just consider it as an apology to Miss Yiren, Zhang Tianyu said very gentlemanly. Besides, we can be considered as strangers who do not know each other, so we can be friends. In the future, when we travel in the world, the more friends we have, the more opportunities we will have. The lunch couple nodded with satisfaction. Meng Shu said, well said, Kit, just based on what you said, I will recognize you as my friend regardless of age difference. As he said, he took out a token from his arms and handed it to Zhang Tianyu. This is the warrant of our family. If you need our help in the future, when you are traveling, just show us the warrant and our family members will come forward to help. If you want to come to our family to play, you can come anytime. Thank you very much, senior. No, you gave Yiren such a good thing. We should thank you. Chao Xiang's eyes narrowed into slits. Meng Yiren played with the fidget spinner again and again and asked, Xiaogang, how do I use this thing? She was very happy now, and began to call him Xiaogang affectionately. Come here, I'll teach you. Zhang Tianyu took Meng Yiren to the bushes nearby. The dragon man and the snake woman looked at the two people with odd smiles on their faces. The snake woman whispered, I think they are really a good match. If Yiren can't marry him, it would be a wonderful thing. Meng Shu sighed, it's a pity. This kid must be a dragon and phoenix among men. I don't know how many confidants he will have in the future. I'm afraid Yiren will not even be able to compete for a seat. The snake woman rolled her eyes at him, thinking back then, I had a lot of sweeters around me, but in the end, didn't you win them over? Meng Shu blushed, then I'll teach Yiren well. Behind the bushes, Zhang Tianyu taught Meng Yiren how to use the fidget spinner. Seeing that the power of this thing was much higher than her hidden weapon, and it was full of tricks, Meng Yiren was very happy. Great, I like this so much, thank you. As she said that, Meng Yiren hugged Zhang Tianyu tightly, and kissed him hard on the face. Zhang Tianyu was stunned, and didn't react for a while. Then Meng Yiren kissed him again without any hesitation. Zhang Tianyu suddenly felt itchy in his heart. I have been holding it back for a long time. Meng Yiren, you are playing with fire. Chapter 74 The day Xiao Wu returns. Tang San suddenly felt a sudden pain in his heart without any warning. In a trance, he felt an inexplicable sense of loss, as if something important was stripped away from his life. However, at this time, everyone was desperately rushing to catch up with Zhang Tianyu, so no one noticed his abnormality. What's wrong with me? Tang San was full of doubts. Why do I suddenly have this inexplicable feeling? At this time, he recalled that, when he saw Xiao Wu and Zhang Tianyu together before, he seemed to have had a similar feeling. At that time, he was still sad for a long time, thinking that it might be because Xiao Wu took away Zhang Tianyu, so he felt unhappy. Hiss, wait a minute, if that's the case, then this time, who took what? After a few seconds, Tang San roughly figured it out. Maybe because he saw Zhang Tianyu so desperate for Xiao Wu, so he was a little jealous and felt unhappy. There is no other explanation except this. Thinking of this, Tang San sighed in his heart. Alas. Why am I a man? Why didn't my parents give birth to me as a girl? If I were a girl, I could be with Xiaogang legitimately. Alas. It's so uncomfortable. I seem to have sensed the breath of that kid Xiaogang over here. Xiao Wuji said in a deep voice, immediately attracting everyone's attention, and also brought Tang San's thoughts back to reality, and the whole person was refreshed. I hope Xiaogang is okay. Xiaogang better be okay. Ning Rang Grang and Zhu Zuking also kept repeating this sentence in their hearts. I hope Xiaogang is okay. Xiaogang better be okay. Otherwise, when I become a titled Douluo in the future, I will definitely come back and tear that damn Titan giant ape apart with my own hands. Meng Yiren let go of Zhang Xiaogang in a panic. Her little face flushed all the way to her neck. Her little hands were tangled together, her delicate waist twisted and turned, and she looked very embarrassed. Well, don't get me wrong, I was just too happy, so I couldn't help it. This is my way of expressing my gratitude to you. Don't think too much, Meng Yiren said with a pout. Looking at her cherry lips, Zhang Xiaogang really wanted to cough. But forget it, their grandparents are outside, and any noise they make can attract them both. It won't be good to label Zhang Xiaogang a gangster then, so hold it in. Zhang Xiaogang, you are the best. You can't eat hot tofu in a hurry, don't rush. When we return to Soto City, we will deal with these three sisters one by one. Thinking of this, he said, I'm not imagining things, as long as you like it. Meng Yiren smiled shyly, you are quite good at talking. Looking at Zhang Xiaogan's handsome face, recalling the man's breath she felt when she got close to Zhang Xiaogang just now, Meng Yiren couldn't help but be a little intoxicated. Ah, this little brother is so good. I'm almost dying. Well, since you can use it now, let's go out, Zhang Xiaogang said, so that the senior can find you another suitable soul beast. Upon hearing this, Meng Yiren quickly ended the random thoughts in his mind, pouted his mouth again, and said, HMPH, I tell you, if this happens again, I won't agree. At that time, you must return to the family with me. Even if this soul guide is returned to you, you must return to the family with me. Okay, there won't be a next time, really. Zhang Xiaogang smiled. As soon as the two came out from behind the bushes, they saw Xiao Wuji and his men coming here. The two sides met, and seeing that Zhang Xiaogang was intact, Xiao Wuji and others immediately breathed a sigh of relief, and their hanging hearts were finally put down. Seeing that the dragon and snake were there, Xiao Wuji felt a little depressed. However, after listening to Zhang Xiaogan's explanation of the whole story, and knowing that the matter had been resolved, Xiao Wuji was relieved. However, Xiao Wu's life and death were uncertain, which made Xiao Wuji feel heavy again. Alas, the ups and downs of life are so interesting. Since there is no conflict now, the dragon and snake are too lazy to argue with Xiao Wuji. After a few friendly conversations, the two sides went about their own business. After sending away the peerless dragon and snake, it is time to continue the plot and find Xiao Wu. Now think about it, Tang San's heart in the original plot was really big. He didn't know that the Titan giant ape would not actually hurt Xiao Wu. So Xiao Wu was captured by the Titan giant ape. In the eyes of these people, it was actually very dangerous and a matter of life and death. Then, when Xiao Wu was in danger of death, Tang San was still in the mood to absorb the soul ring of the human-faced demon spider, and exchanged hidden weapon experience with Meng Yiren for this soul ring. TSK, I have to say it's really interesting. Even if he absorbed the spirit ring, he would still be dead against the Titan ape. So why did he wait until he absorbed the spirit ring before looking for Xiao Wu? TSK. No wonder everyone hates Tang San. After figuring out these things, anyone would hate Tang San. Have you found Xiao Wu? Xiao Wuji asked Zhang Xiaogang. Zhang Xiaogang shook his head. I still need to look for it. We will look for it with you. Tang San said quickly. No, San, you should concentrate on finding soul beasts and getting soul rings. Teacher Zhao, you don't have to help me find it. You just need to help Tang San get soul rings. Everyone was stunned. Tang San said quickly, no. My soul ring is not urgent. I should first. Zhang Tianyu interrupted him. I'm fast at flying swords. If I find the Titan Giant Ape and Xiao Wu, I'm confident that I can use the high speed of flying swords to rescue Xiao Wu when the Titan Giant Ape is not paying attention. If you go with me, I can't bring so many people. Xiao Wuji wanted to speak, but after hearing this, he understood what Zhang Tianyu meant. This is because he thinks they are a burden. But there is nothing wrong with what Zhang Tianyu said. They can't fly. Even if they eat flying mushroom sausages, their speed can't match Zhang Tianyu. Back then, when Zhang Tianyu was still a soul master, his speed was comparable to Flanders, and it was very easy. Can you really do it alone? Xiao Wuji asked. I'm a soul sect now, I can do it. Zhang Tianyu replied. Xiao Wuji thought about it and didn't say much, but asked Oscar to make some more sausages and gave them to Zhang Tianyu, and then said, alas, if Flanders and you guys came out this time, it would be great. You must pay attention to safety. I want you and Xiao Wu to return safely. Zhang Tianyu nodded silently but firmly and flew into the sky with Huangquan, disappearing from everyone's sight like a black lightning. Let's go, Tang San. Find a soul ring for you, Xiao Wuji said. Looking at the map, a group of people left the place. Zhang Tianyu smiled. Tang San, you wait. When Xiao Wu and I come back, it will be the time for you to become bald. Don't thank me. Chapter 75 When Tang San becomes bald. With the live map, Zhang Tianyu quickly located Xiao Wu's position and then flew there slowly. Of course, before leaving, he did not forget the most important thing, to give Tang San a Wangbei hair loss water. At this stage, the Jianghu function is not enabled. Zhang Tianyu cannot remotely give props to others, so he uses it on Tang San in advance. After using it, the prop effect can be remotely controlled. Even if it cannot be remotely controlled, it doesn't matter. As long as you spend a little energy, you can let the system set a trigger path for the prop. For example, wait for Tang San to directly trigger it after absorbing the new spirit ring. In this way, with the previous experience of Oscar growing hair like crazy after absorbing the spirit ring, the fact that Tang San became bald after absorbing the spirit ring will not arouse people's suspicion. Hehehe. Not far away, the flying sword whizzed by. Tianyu is here to find me, you should go back first. Xiao Wu said. Erming nodded and said before leaving, Sister Xiao Wu, the human world is very dangerous, you must be careful. Okay, got it. Watching the Titan Giant Ape leave quietly, Xiao Wu stood up straight, took a deep breath, and ran towards the direction where the flying sword was circling. At the same time, Xiao Wuji and others did not disappoint everyone and found a suitable soul beast for Tang San. It was also a human-faced demon spider, but it was only more than 1,000 years old, which did not exceed Tang San's absorption limit, and it would not produce soul bones. However, this was not a coincidence. As long as Tang San did not die, his third soul skill must be the spider web binding from the human-faced demon spider. The difference was only the aging power. The decision on the external soul bone was on the human-faced demon spider that was injured by Mengshu. So in conclusion, Tang San was destined to have no chance with external soul bones in this life. Zhang Tianyu was in a good mood after getting his chance. Thinking of what would happen next, his mood immediately became better. Just when he couldn't help wanting to laugh wildly, Tianyu, I'm here. A call came from the ground. Zhang Tianyu coughed quickly and looked down. It was indeed Xiao. He immediately wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. What a guy. Fortunately, he didn't laugh out loud just now, otherwise he would be exposed in front of Xiao. Xiao looked at him and thought, hey, I was caught, and you are still laughing so happily? Scumbag. So mean. Then I resolutely break up. That would be really miserable. So why not? Seeing Xiao, Zhang Tianyu was overjoyed. He quickly landed on the ground, and without waiting for Xiao to speak, he rushed over and hugged her fiercely. Xiao was confused by this fierce hug, but she also clearly felt Zhang Tianyu's worry about her and his excitement to see her. so she didn't say anything, nor did she resist, but stretched out her hands and hugged Zhang Tianyu tightly. I'm so glad you're okay. So good. Zhang Tianyu repeated these two sentences over and over again, which made Xiao's prepared remarks useless. But this also touched Xiao even more, because in her opinion, Zhang Tianyu didn't care about anything else, and the most important thing was that she could come back safely. I'm sorry, I made you worry. Feeling Zhang Tianyu's excitement, Xiao's eyes were hot. It's all Erming's fault. Why did he come to me for no reason? Look how worried Tianyu is. It's okay, it's okay. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're back safely. Zhang Tianyu hugged Xiao tightly. At this moment, Xiao felt that she was the happiest person in the world. From this perspective, maybe she should thank Erming. If it weren't for Erming, she didn't know that Zhang Tianyu would worry about her so much and care about her so much. Before, she was worried that the appearance of Ning Rangrang and Zhu Xiuqing would cause a crisis in the relationship between her and Zhang Tianyu. Now it seems that there is no impact at all. Zhang Tianyu held her, and she was not in a hurry to let go, enjoying this warm embrace. Finally, Zhang Tianyu took the initiative to let her go. This guy, how can he not be reserved at all? My arms are a little sore from holding you, but he doesn't take the initiative to break free. Xiao, how did you escape from that big guy? Zhang Tianyu asked hurriedly. Xiao immediately said the prepared words. I don't know what happened. The titan ape grabbed me and ran into the forest. Not long after I ran, there seemed to be a roar like a cow coming from one direction. The titan ape seemed very nervous. He looked at me, threw me aside, and then ran away. Huh? Why is that? Zhang Tianyu's face was full of confusion. Also, Xiao continued, at that time, the titan ape roared, and I felt as Ian passed out. When I woke up, I suddenly found that my soul power had also broken through to level 30. What? Zhang Tianyu was surprised and happy. You are also level 30? Xiao nodded. Yes, I don't know what happened. Then it happened that there was a 1000-year soul beast that was more suitable for me in a coma, so I hunted it and got my third soul ring. Zhang Tianyu looked Xiao up and down, which made Xiao a little scared. It's bad. Tianyu is not that kind of big fool. He is the smartest person I have ever met. Could he have seen through my lie? Then Zhang Tianyu smiled and hugged her again. Xiao, you are really a lucky star, a blessing in disguise. Xiao was relieved and breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, I also think this is a blessing in disguise. But if we talk about lucky stars, I think Tianyu are my lucky star. Why do you say that? Zhang Tianyu asked. Because after meeting you, I feel that I have become lucky. Xiao recalled the experiences of these years. The time she spent with Zhang Tianyu was almost all good. This time was the happiest time for her, since her mother died. So, she really thinks Zhang Tianyu is her lucky star. Zhang Tianyu smiled and said, then let's be each other's lucky stars. Yeah. Xiao nodded vigorously. Good guy. Don't be each other's angels. Be each other's lucky stars. 6. Said the system. Feeling that the momentum on Tang San's body was gradually converging into his body, and Tang San did not show any discomfort, Xiao Wuji and others showed a relaxed expression. Tang San was about to succeed in absorbing the spirit ring. At this time, a sound of breaking through the air came into everyone's ears, and everyone was stunned. This was the sound of Zhang Tianyu flying with a sword. Then they all looked up at the sky with joy, and they saw Zhang Tianyu flying back with Xiao, and Xiao was back too. Great. At the same time, Tang San also slowly finished his work, let out a long breath, and absorbed the spirit ring. 3 good things came together. However, the next second, the joy on Mahanjan's face suddenly solidified, and then pointed at Tang San and exclaimed, Tang San, what are you doing? Why did you become bald? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.